Welcome back to Marvelous Chats, guys. This week on the podcast, myself, Hoffman, and Zaberwolf, we're going to break down Eternals. I am literally going live at 1 a.m. Irish time. I've just seen the film. The guys saw the film yesterday. We're going to go live. It's going to be a heavy spoiler stream.
Cool.
And
Cool.
we're gonna kick in. So I'm gonna bring the boys in now. Say hi to them. Hey, gents. Yo.
Hello.
Can you hear me okay?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Bro, I've never gone live this late in my life.
It's nice.
Dude, it's 1
The
a.m.
late night crowd.
It's 1 a.m., bro.
It is 1 a.m.
Yes, sir.
Into After Dark.
Finto After Dark, yeah, exactly. Thank you for that gifted sub to Gabe, by the way. Alex, what a
No
start.
problem.
Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, how are we?
I'm
know.
doing fantastic.
I don't know if Kyle's gonna join us. I think he said he just came back. He's just seen the film himself. So I don't know if maybe one of you guys want to just DM him while we're chatting and just say, look, if he can get home and jump in, just tell him to pop into the call at any point. I am literally in the door. I am fresh out of the cinema. I've just seen it.
I also heard rumors of a possible Lex Luthor appearance tonight. We will see.
My God,
I heard rumors.
that would be fantastic.
I'll send him a reminder just in case.
I kind of changed my my camera angle a bit. It looks a bit strange on Discord. I think it looks better on my stream than it does.
I like it. A little more front facing, yeah?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
my camera's like right in front of my face, so but it's a little higher. It's autofocused. Autofocus. Hello.
I was gonna
High five,
ask.
everyone.
It's not working. It's not autofocusing. It'll
I was
figure
gonna
it.
ask, like, would you ever consider like taking it off autofocus and just have a setting?
I need to mess around with that. I think because it does not seem to be focusing. Like what in the world? Hang on. Let's turn off the light for a second. There we go.
There he is.
There he is. Yeah, so let's just kick it off. A bit of a round table. Let's kick in. Who wants to start?
The Eternals, baby. I'm going to let you know right now, all these critics, this like negative 56% whatever on Rotten Tomatoes, I don't know what movie they saw. Because like just Helicopter View, I absolutely adored this movie. Like I loved it. It's one of my favorite sci-fi movies I've seen in a long time. It's not better than Dune, but it's a really good sci-fi movie that totally fits into the MCU. Totally feels different than all the other MCU movies we've watched up until now. And I just walked away like wanting to go back and see it because I loved it. I adored it.
Will you go watch it a second time in the theater?
Yes, I'm gonna try and go next week at some point.
Nice. I
Once
would.
it kind of calms down a little bit because I had a terrible movie theater experience.
Oh.
It was a terrible experience, but I still enjoyed the movie.
Bro, I had a bit of a terrible experience myself. When we sat down, like usually in Ireland, it's been like social distancing in the theaters, so there's no one sitting to your left, right, or in front of you. And now, they seem to have like scrapped that and not told anybody because like we came in and sat down and there was people sitting like on both sides of us, and we were like, "What the hell's going on? Like, are these people in the wrong seats or something?" I was like, "I know I'm in the right seat," so I didn't want to be the dickhead to say like, "Excuse me, like, what's your seat number?" Like, but I really felt uncomfortable with people sitting beside me. And then to top it off, we're in like the best screen in the country, and half the sound wasn't working. It was bizarre. I could hear people eating over me, dude.
Dude,
Did the same thing happen to you?
I was like sitting in the movie theater wondering I was like, are the speakers broke on this thing? Like, this doesn't feel like it sounds right. Like, is it just, is it the movie? Is it this theater? Like, I don't know what the deal is. 'Cause it didn't feel right.
If we had the exact same experience on different sides of the globe, bro, it's gotta be something wrong with the movie, right?
It could be. It could be just an absolute coincidence. But yeah, like I felt like the movie was like this like stuff was not. I couldn't hear stuff on my left side.
Yeah. Like it was.
So I don't know.
For me, it was like there was no bass, and when they were talking, it was
Yes.
really low. But then when it was really loud, it was really loud. It was like it wasn't equalized properly. And like it got to a point like I was like laser focused on the film, so I wasn't really noticing it as much. But my girlfriend had like a really loud eater beside her to her right, and she literally stood up and went outside and told the staff. And it probably took them another half an hour, but they did kind of mess with the volumes and it got better. But I'd say the first 45 minutes of the movie, I was like sitting like this, like focused on the dialogue. And like, I hate subtitles when I'm watching movies, but if it was up to me, I would have switched on subtitles. That's like how bad the dialogue was. It was very annoying, bro. Very annoying.
I guess I got lucky because usually we go to the AMC theaters and those are fine. Usually you get a couple people being silly and whatnot if the movie's getting delayed. But we went to Regal. I was like, okay, cool. Regal seats are probably not that comfortable, but it's just down the way. It'd be so much easier. And go in there. There's practically nobody there. There's just a few people that are actually, it's not packed at all. And I'm like, that's kind of nice. And, you know, to the right of me and to the left of me, like, it's open. And I'm like, that's awesome. And the only thing that was maybe like, it wasn't even bad. There was a kid that was sitting with his father. And every now and then he'd ask a question, is there something? And then all of a sudden you hear the dad go like, shh. And I started chuckling a little bit.
Yeah, I don't really mind kids' enthusiasm, bro. They're the next generation, you know? So that doesn't bother me at all, really. But what really bothered me was I could actually hear people like opening packets of like chocolate and stuff like that. And I was just like, this is fucking bullshit. And like I turned to my girlfriend and like, you know, the way you would kind of like the level that you would be used to kind of whispering to somebody, it was very loud. And I was like, shit, like, you know, I'm like, the people beside me probably think I'm a dickhead talking to her while we're trying to watch the movie. But it was just, the sound was just so bad. I just couldn't believe it. I want to watch it again with proper audio for the first like 30 minutes, like, because it was really annoying to me. Like, so yeah, like I think.
Do people not know movie etiquette that like if we're gonna have to open up something new or go into a plastic bag, let's wait till a loud action scene. And, like,
right? Yeah.
Just waiting for the explosion, and you're like, go.
Dude, like that's etiquette. I get so embarrassed when I make noise and I have to do that. I'm like,
yeah, I know. I agree, dude.
I love the feeling we all get though. Like you get that one quick feeling. I'm like, okay, go.
Yeah.
It's like,
to be honest, dude, like if I'm lost in the movie, I don't give a shit if I'm making noise because I'm just like the movie's usually loud enough that it kind of masks it anyway, unless it's like a silent scene and you're in like a horror movie or something like that. But it's usually fine. But this was like I was hearing people like behind me, in front of me, like way over to the right and left. I could hear people like chewing food nearly, like that's how quiet it was at parts. And I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like it was completely taking me out of the immersion. Like it was very annoying.
See, it's funny you brought up having people sitting right next to you. I had a fucking cougher, bro. Like 4 seats down. This dude had like bronchitis or COVID. I don't know what like, he had that like smoker's cough. Like he was like hacking, and it was like every minute. It'd be like a quiet scene. He's like, I'm like, leave. Like you're ruining the movie for everyone. Just leave. It's okay. Come back later.
Was he doing the castle a little bit?
Yeah, the castle.
Free castles.
And like everyone around me started off with their masks off, right? Like they're just at a movie.
People were putting them on.
Like, yeah, he started coughing. I was like, well, masking up.
Oh my god!
I'm just sitting there like, nah, I'm still working on these like cookie dough chocolate covered plates here.
Shovel them in, bro. We'll take the chance. Yeah, dude. I got my nachos with like my cheese and all. I was like, thank God. I brought a packet of like a packet of chocolate as well. Didn't even touch it. Like the nachos were just enough. Like it was fantastic.
God, see, I'm so jealous of you because like I have a theater I can go to get nachos.
Yeah.
But like the theater isn't as good, so like I want a better viewing experience. So I go to the place that doesn't have the nachos. But like, I just want the nachos. Like,
bring your own.
Oh yeah.
Could you sneak in with food? Is that a big thing over there?
I don't think they care anymore, but I mean, there's like a restaurant across the way. I wonder if I got like a to-go order of nachos. If I could just bring them with me.
I've no joke. I've been sitting in the theater and I've seen people sitting there eating McDonald's and stuff. You know, like that happens.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll pay them to bring it in. Like you know how restaurants have like uncorking fees for bottles of wine. I'll pay them to let me bring a nacho in. I don't care. You guys want $5, 10? Here it is.
Yeah. Epic.
We did a food pregame. We actually had some bison burgers.
Oh, nice.
It was fantastic. We were stuffed, so all I did was get a diet soda, and we were like, that's it.
Nice, dude. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give a quick kind of spoiler warning to anybody who may be listening to us or watching us right now.
Last one.
If you have not seen this film, we're going to kind of dig into the nitty gritty of it. So please, I appreciate you being here. Maybe mute the tab if you want to see the film. You don't want to get it spoiled on you. But yeah, here we go. Let's talk. Let's start with the round table. Hoffman, what did you think? Like out of 10, maybe? What would you give it?
I would give this movie probably like an 8.5, 9 out of 10. I really want to go back and see it because it's so high. Was I just like totally sold on it? Like, did I just get caught up in it and like really just absolutely loved it? And there's problems I'm just not seeing, or like was it really just that good? I would say like just from the hip, it's the best Marvel to come out in Phase 4. It's way better than Black Widow. It's better than Shang-Chi. Like it's just a fantastic movie. Like dude. Fucking the twist, the reveal. I don't want to get to it yet and jump our head of ourselves with digging through this, but like I didn't even see it coming at all, bro. Like it's just like fantastic storytelling that's not the norm for the MCU. Like it really did break the mold on what like MCU movies are supposed to be. Like of course there was some of the like MCU fight scenes and stuff and like the big CGI stuff, but like it really broke the mold story wise.
We're talking about Icarus, right?
Yeah, with the Icarus turn.
Yeah. I was only talking to my lady as we were walking back to the car, and I said I didn't see it coming at all, and I loved the fact that I didn't see it coming at all because it was just such a refreshing thing. Like, I knew the 2 after credit scenes. I'd heard about them already, so I knew that they were coming. Like, the Harry Styles thing didn't, like, phase me at all. Like, and then... Jon Snow with the sword, I knew that was coming as well. Like, so it's just like, yeah, whatever. Like, that was fine. But the Icarus thing, bro, I was like, holy shit, I didn't see it coming at all. It was fantastic. For me, Alex, you go, please. Yeah,
I was gonna say I had a sneaking suspicion that's all I can say. Is like that was the only thing for the fact that we see it in the trailers, like, oh, I could lead and whatnot, and it seemed like he was going to be a lighthearted kind of person, maybe even a little more charismatic, and they completely did a 180 on it, especially in the movie. You see he's like, don't stop talking about me, I'm fine. And then you see the big reveal, and it's like yeah, something was up with him. Like that's how I was feeling, but I still felt satisfied with the way that they did it. It wasn't just like I'm evil. It was more like this has been going on for the longest time.
Like, that the line that he said, it's like, how would you feel if you had to keep a secret from your family for like centuries, and that's like what he was going through. So it was like, I kind of understand, you know what I mean? And like when you know the truth for so fucking long, and these guys, the rest of the team, kind of find it out within a couple of days of the event happening, and it's just like, oh, we got to try and stop this. Whereas him, it's like, it's divine purpose. This is what we're here for. Like, that's kind of what he's led to believe the entire time. Like, so yeah, I thought it was great. My girlfriend says she saw it coming, like very obviously. I was like, wow, I didn't see it coming at all. It was a complete shock for me. Yeah. Which I was very happy about. Like, I try my hardest when I'm watching new content to kind of view it like a baby, like view it as a first time view. I try not to think too much about the stuff, but yeah, it was just great. Like, I just really enjoyed it. I loved seeing your man who played Druig, the Irish dude.
Oh, he's fantastic in this.
Yeah, Barry Keoghan, bro. Like, he's from Dublin. Like, he's from like where I'm from. Like, and it was just fantastic to see an Irish fella in the MCU like lead role, and he's like didn't change his accent at all. It was like a proper Dublin accent. Like, I was like, this is fucking brilliant, bro. I loved it, absolutely loved it. Like, I thought he was great.
I thought not only did I think he was great, I think he like honestly gave the best performance out of anyone in the movie. Like, his character was fantastic.
Yeah,
I thought the chemistry he had with Makari, the speedster, the fast lady, like their chemistry between those two people was like extraordinary. I thought it was better than Icarus and Cersei in it. Like, it was like their relationship felt so natural for some reason.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to him just being a fucking stunningly good actor.
Yeah, like
I loved him in it.
This movie's gonna catapult him now. He's gonna get so many roles. He's had a couple of good roles. He started out doing some like Irish TV, like some like gangster Irish TV and stuff when he was very young. He was only like 15 or 16. And like everyone over here used to kind of make fun of him because he looked like a cat when he was a kid. Like, and he kind of still has some kind of cat features on him. But yeah, like he's blown up recently. He was in Dunkirk. He had a small role in Dunkirk, and He's done a few other bits as well. Like, so this will now, he'll be a Hollywood like proper
He's cemented
movie
now.
star. Yeah, he's gonna be a movie star after this. Like I hope he goes far in the MCU, but I'd love to see him start popping up all over the place now. It'd be fantastic. Like, really good representation for us Dublin folk.
So, besides all of that, do you guys have a favorite Eternal? Because I would say that mine is Fastos, which was portrayed by Brian Tyree Henry. That dude acted so well during each scene, especially when you see the scene of Hiroshima and him
bro.
just
Yeah.
bearing his soul and realizing how much of a problem he created.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I thought was fantastic, especially that it tied to a historical event and how he realized his wrongs.
Yeah.
Yep.
I loved
how
all the historical events. I thought, there was a lot of little nods to history, and you're like, oh wow, it was the Eternals who did that. Like, I thought it was very clever and it was very funny.
Yeah.
The
I
whole
wish
the whole
they had
Icarus
more
story.
of that.
Yeah, I
wish
do.
they had more of that,
Yeah.
man. But
They should. They should have had more. They went into the past so much that I think every time they flashed back, they should have made some big significant kind of tip of the hat. I think it would have made it a lot better. Like, if I can critique something about the film, it would be that I think it was probably about 30 minutes too long. I think they could have maybe shaved a bit of time out of it, and it might have run a little better. Now, this doesn't bother me, but I can see why people might say, oh, it's a bit dragged out, it's a bit too long, the pacing is a bit slow. Like, for me, I want to, like, I could easily have sat and watched it for another half an hour. Like, it wouldn't have bothered me at all. But I can see why people would be giving out about it. I can see why some people are giving it a low score. The whole diversity thing, I didn't think about it once in the entire movie. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, what is the internet talking about? Like, obviously there was
like
the...
the grind or something. I don't know what their deal is. I'm like, what?
It's so stupid, bro. Like, there's
just
one, like, male on male kiss in the whole film, and that was it. And it was like, 3 seconds long. Like, it's like, calm down, guys. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, that is how they should be. Like, all this time they're trying to shoehorn like a gay character into a lot of these things. When Brian T. Henry like comes up and gives like the best performance,
fantastic.
and they don't even
So
treat it like a
good.
big deal, and it seems so natural. I'm like, yes, like it's just a life. Like they exist. Like they have feelings for other men, and they kiss each other, and they have families, and they have kids, and then they go off and save the fucking world. What's the big deal? Like, like that. That's what's important, is that they go and save the world, man. Like that's the cool, the part you focus on.
Yeah.
Instead of just making it central to their character, and it just
He is
because like you said,
yeah.
the actor, like he was saying, he's his favorite one. Like he turned into, that was a great scenes from him.
Yeah.
I love how they tied his character from being, his weapons of war, him being kind of like, hey, it's just a part of life. This is how they evolved, and then seeing Hiroshima and being like, oh my god,
what have I done?
This is insane.
I pushed him too fast.
Yeah.
And it like and also the fight scenes between Fastos and the other Eternals, and just seeing the fact that Fastos is not, he's not just like a little worm. He's a force to be reckoned with. Like he actually held him down and was like, you sit here and watch.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn.
I've wanted to clip your wings for a long time. That was such a great line. I was like, yes,
Oh
bro.
my God.
See, it was a great line, but one thing I would say the movie's missing, and this is probably why on a rewatch it's going to sink it a little bit for me, is because they don't establish why.
Yeah.
And I think that gets back to the point where you said where it's like they could have jumped around to different time periods, because like they say that, and I'm like, why? You just seem like you've had a great relationship with him the entire movie and from the past, and it's like, I've wanted to do this forever.
Yeah.
And so I think if they would have like jumped around in history more and established like these moments where there was a friction,
Tension,
and
yeah.
it would have been a little better. And
Families
maybe
fight
not-
all the time, bro. We
Right.
definitely should have seen that. Yeah, it came across as if they were like the best friends and the best family ever, and then it's like, but why did you just all split up for like 1,000 years and just like go live your lives separately? Like it doesn't really make much sense, because if they were as close as they claimed to be, they would have stayed together. They wouldn't have waited for Salma Hayek's character, Ajax, is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah. They wouldn't have just waited for her to click her fingers and say disperse, break up, go do your thing, and then they would have wanted to stay together a lot longer. So yeah, that didn't really make much sense to me. I think you're dead right.
I don't know what the director did, but this is like the best on-screen family I think I've ever witnessed. Like they felt like a family, and I don't know what they did to make it feel that way, but then when they were together on the ship, they all seemed so comfortable with each other, and they seemed so natural, and like it just felt so authentic, right?
Yeah.
And I thought it felt more authentic than even like the Guardians movie. I don't know if it's the cast, if it was the director, but I felt like I was watching a family
Yeah.
during that movie. I really felt that.
Did you guys remember? I think I kind of mentioned something about it in one of the podcasts weeks and weeks ago. But did you guys remember the whole, or did you know the whole kind of like robot story, or was that kind of
No.
a shock to you when it happened?
It was
I think it was I didn't feel shocked.
Yeah.
Right? Like I was like, it was like just a natural reveal, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It kind of
Um,
it kind of puts power to that scene in Loki where where Loki's going through the metal detector and it's like, are you a robot? And it's like that, and you're not aware of your existence. It's like, it's like, am I a robot? I don't think I am. I think that was kind of a tip of the hat to that, because this was originally meant to be out before Loki, if you remember correctly. So obviously,
yeah. I actually didn't read the comic until like immediately after the movie was over. I pulled up the comic on Marvel Unlimited and I was
Nice.
just reading it.
yeah, I got the
And-
iPad ready, baby.
It's so good.
hell yeah. Trying to think as well.
I was real
Go
quick
ahead.
though, because
Yeah.
you said this was supposed to come out before Loki. It felt so good to finally get a movie where we're past the blip
Yeah.
and that we're in it, and it's like the MCU is moving forward now. Like we're going forward in like a good way. Like Shang-Chi didn't feel like a step forward. Black Widow absolutely wasn't purposely and so like this felt good where they were like, yes, life goes on, new things come in.
Yeah.
And I thought the way they explained their absence during all the wars and the Infinity War
Made
was
sense.
actually really, yeah, and it satisfied the answer. And it was like that was a big question everyone kept ragging on him for, like, well, why don't you do this?
Yeah.
And I felt like it did make a lot of sense, and it was enough, man. And I'm really happy they landed that question.
100%. Yeah. 100%. I think this movie was meant to come out directly after Endgame. This was meant to be the first movie out after Endgame, and it would have made a lot of sense, obviously, because there's the talk about Thanos in the movie. Like he gets name dropped like 4 times in the film. Like, so,
Yeah.
even though this is like, now we're in 2021, almost 2022, and they're still name dropping Thanos like in movies, like, know. So obviously it would have probably flowed a lot better if they had put that one in directly. And I'm curious what Disney will do, like when this gets released on Disney Plus and it goes into the timeline order, where will it sit directly after Endgame? That I'm curious about that. I think it probably will, because it would make make a lot of sense.
Just cut to Stark's, like the meme. Tell me his name again.
Yeah. Like I'm curious, like as well, like obviously maybe Shang-Chi couldn't have referenced anything in this movie. Maybe they had. Like I'm very curious with the timelines, and did they have to remove stuff from other projects because the release order got kind of screwed up? Because like there's no way like anything that happened after the events of that film, like with the Celestial, would not be referenced in everything else after, So I'm curious, was there, like, say in Falcon and the Winter Soldier and in like Shang-Chi and stuff, like were there references to that event that happened? Because like and I'd say we're definitely going to see it pop up in other movies, like someone will be flying over to be like, oh, there's the Celestial that nearly like destroyed the entire planet.
If you look out the left side of your window, you'll see the Celestial Tiamat in his unborn state. Like,
Yeah, there's his hand over there.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that was cool. Because I was like,
Dude, the scene where like the Celestial comes to Earth and is hanging out outside
Yeah.
of Earth,
yeah,
dude,
that was terrifying.
One of the coolest things.
That was terrifying. Yeah, and like Jon Snow is just like standing there, like, and it's like he takes over the entire sky. I had to laugh because I saw people like dads grabbing kids' bikes and them all running off. It's like, where are you running to? Like he could just like flick the entire planet away. Like, you know what I mean? There's no point in going anywhere. There's nowhere you could run.
Can I point out real quick before I forget? Poor
Yeah.
Jon Snow, Kit Harington.
Yeah.
The lengths they went through to make him feel like the same height as Cersei, and
Yeah.
then during the hugging scenes, like his ear is like touching the bottom of her ear.
He's
Like he's so short.
yeah.
Like,
I think
they made
gotta-
him seem the same height so well, and then they're hugging. He's like right here on her. I'm like, oh man.
I literally just typed in Kit and then HA into Google, and one of the suggestions, Kit Harington height.
What is he, like 5'4"?
No,
5'5"?
I don't think I think he's like 5'8".
Oh man.
He's
Yeah.
five. Yeah, he's five.
That's
five
about my height.
5'8".
Yeah.
I'm 5'9", so like I'm not gonna laugh at the poor guy, but you know, he do they.
The poor guy and all that money and
Yeah.
starring roles he gets.
Yeah, there's six pack and half
Just
the women on the
weeping
planet
and
love him.
wiping his
Like, yeah,
face.
fuck him. Actually, yeah, fuck him, the short ass. No, I love him. I can't remember where I heard it. There was like reports coming out that like Marvel were like so like blown away by his performance in the movie, and like my girlfriend turned to me at the end of the movie. She's like, "What were you shiting on about him having like an amazing performance? He was barely in the film, and his scene at the end hadn't shown up yet." And I was like, maybe it's his after credit scene. But even that was like, it was kind of cool. Like there was some good acting in it, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, like what was this big kind of hype about Kit Harington? Like, because he didn't really do a lot, to be honest. He had like 15 minutes of screen time at the start of the film, then he disappeared for the whole film, and then showed up at the very end.
He had a cameo, basically. He
Yeah,
cameoed in this movie.
he did.
Right.
He did. He like, you know, I
Maybe-
wouldn't.
Maybe there's just a lot of scenes he shot and they were impressed with that, like hit the editing floor. You know, the movie was like 2.5 hours. Maybe they had to trim out a bunch. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like I thought he was great. Like I thought like I like him on screen.
Oh, he's fantastic. He is
so-
fantastic. I love him. Like, and I loved seeing the two characters, the brothers from Game of Thrones, back together. It was just fantastic. Like, you know,
Just in love with Cersei. Like,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
what?
yeah.
Hello.
yeah, I know, it was so funny. The both of them fighting over Cersei. I'm like, this is just Game of Thrones.
His acting style fit like right into the MCU. Like his the way he delivers his jokes and stuff.
Yeah,
Like he just felt like
Yeah.
so naturally MCU.
I thought Icarus was hilarious
Yes.
at the
Very- yeah.
especially at the start of the film, and he was my favorite up until the turn. Like, I was like, this guy is amazing. I love him. Like, I love the whole, like, his fighting style, just like his stance, is like just the way he goes on. I'm like, this guy's like he's a natural leader. Like, and then
Dude, when
all the
when he's
Superman
walking out
stuff.
of the building.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
just that walk.
He's a
is
beast,
like-
bro. Yeah, beast,
Yeah.
beast. And like all the Superman kind of references were kind of funny and tongue in cheek, and I kind of got a good laugh out of them. And did you notice as well, Batman got referenced in the film and Superman? So I'm like, are they like, what are they doing here? Like, are they having fun here or what? I'm so like, you know, that's very, very tongue in cheek, like, you know, referencing two of DC's biggest characters.
Yeah.
And then
Got
Maybe
Star Wars were referenced in there as well. You know, when he's
Maybe they're-
reading the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
Book, like I thought that was really interesting because it's kind of an indicator saying like, look, this is just like a comic, and this is just a series that's within the MCU. It might also be an indicator of like, we're probably never gonna see, you know, Star Wars within the MCU, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean like they can't change their mind. It's just maybe
they-
it's just like a little poke.
They did put
you know?
Mustafar in What If
That-
for like one frame, but it did happen.
Don't trust
Yeah.
those animators. they're big. They're the biggest nerds in the world. Like,
Yeah. No, but I know behind the scenes there were talks of them trying to put Luke Skywalker into an episode of What If, and they were like, guys, look, we're giving you all the creative freedom in the world, but that's too far. You know, we can't bring Luke in. Yeah. Oh, bro, like, you know, I'm kind of sad with the whole how Icarus ended. You know, it was kind of cheesy in a way, and, you know, I don't know, I just think they kind of wasted the character. I might have maybe liked to seen a bit of a redemption story in a second film, or if they passed into, you know, a crossover with the Guardians or someone like some space character or Captain Marvel or something like that, or whatever they're planning to do next.
You know,
I would-
Finto,
Go ahead.
did you happen to take a look at that bingo card?
No, I actually didn't. There was too many
There's
people
one-
sitting around me, so I didn't want to take my phone out when I was watching
Yeah.
the film or anything.
That's fine.
Yeah.
One of the spaces actually says literally took it too literally.
Yeah.
Seeing Icarus fly to the sun, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah. You're
my
like,
nose.
tick. Yeah, I kind of thought that was a bit cheesy. Like, when I walked out of the theater, I went to the bathroom because I was holding in a piss for like an hour and 15 minutes. I was like, I can't leave. I'm like, I just can't. So like literally had to run to the bathroom the second after the second after credit scene finished, and when I came back out, I could just hear people talk. Why did they have to fly him into the sun? It was just so stupid.
well, I mean,
I'm like, they're not wrong. They're not
I
wrong.
think he can come back. Like, I don't think he can come back as that Icarus. But like, isn't it the whole deal about the Eternals? Is like they're all like they're being made in a factory. So like,
I was
he
about
can
to
come
mention.
back, you
I was
know?
about to say that. Yeah. So
So
it's like, yeah, I think they could. They
Yeah.
could bring them back, and then he's a version of himself that didn't flip, and we get
Yeah.
what we had all the way up to the flip. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
you could bring them back, and I know they had mentioned that they were going to be bringing Eternals into What If and stuff for season 2, and also. I
Mm-hmm.
I think he gave such a good fucking performance, bro.
Yeah.
Robbie Madden,
Def-
like that they can't just
Especially
say
like
that's
the
it.
last third. The
Oh,
last third of that movie with him was like I felt like he was a little flat in the very beginning, and maybe that's how they told him to play it because like
yeah.
he's trying to fool everyone, and but like dude, when he was you know trying when he wanted to kill everyone, he couldn't do it. He couldn't kill Cersei or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
that was so fucking good, man.
Yeah,
Like
man,
so fucking good.
he's a fantastic actor, and I just think like, if they're doing shit like bringing Harry Styles into the MCU, like they gotta hang on to like good actors like Robbie Madden, like who just gave an absolutely stellar performance. Like
Hmm.
I couldn't get over it. Like, to be honest, I think he is probably my favorite character in the film.
Hmm.
Icarus, like I loved him. Like I just thought how they did like all of his effects of him flying and using the laser vision and all was just great. Like he did have that kind of Superman presence, which was fantastic. And then
Hmm.
obviously I loved the speedster as well. Like that fight that he had with the speedster was brilliant. Where he's
Hmm.
like, where she's like just punching him into
Yep.
the
She's
wall,
going ham.
and he's just like, just that's enough. Like he's just like, come on, just get it over it. Like, it's
You
just
know,
he was so
I
good.
felt like the way they did his flying, like his Superman abilities, like were done way better than what they were did in like the Justice League style. Like there was so much airiness to it. Like it felt like
Yeah,
he was like flying and lighter. Like it was almost like Superman Returns. Like I really like how they treated flying in that movie.
yeah,
So like I loved it in this one. I do hope he comes back. I hope that they take notes for all their other flying characters in the MCU based on how he did it,
Hmm.
because he felt better than the Captain Marvel flying. Like there was just something about him
dude.
being in the air that felt good, and like
Hmm.
this movie captured superhero abilities better than I think anything before it.
I genuinely feel like he is the first character that we've seen fly. And I know that's ridiculous because in the
Hmm.
MCU there are a few people that can fly, but it just never felt like it in the MCU that they've done it before. Like I don't
Yeah.
consider Captain Marvel because the way she's like a kind of streak of light flying around or something like
Yeah.
it doesn't feel real, real. But
Yeah.
his flying felt real to me. Like it was weird. I don't know.
It's almost
Yeah.
like all the other characters are actually flying, and he's just existing in the air,
Yeah,
right? Like because they all feel like they're always moving when they're in the air, like an airplane, like like an airplane's flying. He's not doing what an airplane does. Like he can
yeah,
just stop and be there and float, and like I don't know what you call that. Like
yeah,
he's levitating. Like it just felt fucking awesome, man.
yeah,
I think I actually looked at that. It was it's based on telekinesis. So
Mhm.
it's like a levitation based on the telekinesis. So he's like literally pushing himself up. So that's why it looks so natural as
Mhm.
opposed to just like this whole like Superman push up.
Mm. I would say my favorite characters, just so because you guys have established yours, and I'm so sad about this. Fucking Gilgamesh was like my absolute
he was a
favorite
legend.
character,
Oh, that
man.
dude was
He was a
awesome.
legend, dude.
I'm so sad that we lost Gilgamesh in this movie. I hope they bring him back in some way because the way Don Lee played him, like he was so fucking lovable. I thought like he was almost like the rock of the whole Eternals. Like he glued everyone together a little bit. Because we never really got to see Ajax interact with a bunch of them, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Like Don Lee, and I'm a sucker for big, strong superheroes. Like my favorite character is Colossus. So like him in there, like the way he would wreck people and just put them in their place, like
yeah,
I loved it, man.
yeah.
Yeah, I love I love like the wind up kind of thing where like he put his fist together and then he's just
Yeah.
like wow.
Yeah, he was so strong. He was so strong. It was great. It was like,
Mhm.
and I was watching the credits, and I always kind of, stupidly, like, I don't know if anybody else does this, but I always read the names in the credits, and I try and find like my own name in the credits, like, see if there's any people with my name. And just when it got to the digital artists and the VFX artists, did you notice like the amount of names, bro? Like, it was just the teams were fucking giant, and
Mhm.
it just the work showed. It was just incredible, start to finish. There was like VFX in it everywhere, but it didn't really feel like it. You know the way like when you're watching movies and it just feels fake as fuck. I didn't feel it. It felt like I was proper in it. Like it felt like a world to me. Gotta say as well, Angelina Jolie was incredible in the film.
great in this,
her
man.
fight.
Yeah.
I know it's not her fighting, but like the character's like fighting style was just incredible. I loved how she like just manifested her weapons and stuff like that, and she could like change to having shields and knives and big fucking like spears and all. Like it was fantastic, and I loved how she had that glitch. So like it's like she remembered past worlds, but she didn't understand what was happening. And they're like, "Oh, your brain's overloading. You've got too many memories. We need to wipe you." And she's like, "Oh, they were all afraid that she's gonna lose who she was." And I just thought her storyline was fantastic. It really was.
Yeah, it was definitely amazing that they included a lot of things from the comics into that. Like the Mad Wiry, that's real in the comics. It's known as the Eternal Madness. It's basically from the longevity that they have.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that they brought it in there, and that they didn't just like, they could have just had it called anything else, but it was cool that they kept it, original.
Yeah.
And it was amazing seeing Angelina Jolie as Athena, and seeing all of the like the fancy footwork, all of the the combat. The one thing, Finto, is that I remember my girlfriend was talking about that, and she's like, I can't take Angelina Jolie out of the character. Like she always just sees Angelina Jolie.
I didn't at all. For me, it was I know it was Angelina Jolie, but at the same time, I thought she fit perfectly into the universe. Like I wasn't taken out of it going, oh my god, that's Angelina Jolie in a Marvel movie. Like I didn't think about it at all. I thought she was absolutely brilliant. I thought she was perfect for the role.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
And I'll also say her like climax, like her big moment in the movie when she's killing the deviant at the end.
Dude, so good.
I love the way they set up this whole movie and the script to where you didn't know who was going to live and who was going to die. Like the moment, this all started in the very beginning or near the very beginning of the movie when they go to get Selma Hayek's Ajax character, and she's dead. Within the first 20 minutes of this film, you're like, wait, their leader is dead?
Yeah, that was very strange to me, because I was like, anything that happened after that, I was kind of like, I thought maybe if they showed a couple of more flashbacks of her first, I think you might have cared a bit more about the character when she died. But the fact that I thought to myself, oh my god, Selma Hayek's dead in the first 10 minutes of the film, what the fuck? And then like every flashback after, I kind of didn't give a shit, because I'm like, she's dead, So I think if they did a few more flashbacks and then showed her dead, I think it might have hit a bit better. It might have like hit the audience a bit better.
I think her being dead wasn't that big of a deal to the audience in terms of her character being dead. But I think what the director and the scriptwriter did that really set that up. It's like if the leader can die in the very beginning of this film, then anybody can go.
The real book is out the window.
Right. Yeah. And then Gilgamesh dies in this movie. Probably, halfway through the movie, he's gone. And so I think that all sets up the very end, when the end fight scene where like anything can happen. So when Angelina's character is taking out the deviant and he, puts the spike in her neck, you're like, oh damn, like he got Angelina, like Angelina ain't making it. And so when she like busts out her swords and like she fooled them, like it actually sells it.
Yeah.
And like it's an actual movie moment where I'm like, I did, could that happen? Sure. But like, did I think it was going to happen? No, I thought that we are going to lose Angelina in that last fight scene because we've lost so many people already. And like, when Druig is, quote unquote, like you think he might have been killed or taken out of the fight and he shows up, like all that is because they were willing to like kill these characters off early, to kind of set up the stakes for this movie that like, yeah, they're Eternals, but they can die, and they can die in this movie.
I think I could have taken that scene either way. Like had they made it to where Athena was killed, I think they could have taken it in the direction of like that deviant just becomes, one of the named deviants within the comics, and goes off and does his own thing for a while, like goes into hiding, and then it turns into like, what the hell happened to Athena, and then you find Athena's body and whatnot. Like that could have been a cool alternate way of doing it. But I do absolutely love the fact that she managed to snap out of it and get the kill that she deserved.
Yep. And like it was fucking so badass, man. And also I really like that what they did with Kingo, who I thought, I don't think we've talked about him. I don't know how to say his name. Kamal.
Yeah.
I thought he was really brilliant in this movie. Like one of the funniest characters, had a lot of heart, like had a lot of like presence on the film, and them doing the scene at the end where he like kind of walks away from everything is like look, I don't, I don't agree with what you guys are doing, but I'm not going to fight you. And
Yeah.
he just takes off.
Yeah.
And how much of it is like a Hollywood trope that the person that does that always comes back into the last scene and saves everybody in the big fight scene?
Yeah.
And like he
Right.
just does it.
Yeah, he's
like
just
he's like,
gone.
I'm not going to fight you, and he
Yeah.
doesn't.
And that
show up
was
to the
great.
fight.
Yeah, he's like,
I loved it.
he's like, I completely agree with Icarus, but I'm not gonna fight you. So see you later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he-
Yeah, that was
and you don't see
fantastic.
him again.
Yeah.
Until the very very end of the movie, where it's like he's not fighting. He's just taking care of the wrapping up the movie.
And when
Like you never see that.
when I heard that he was cast, like he's like, traditionally a very comedic actor, and I was like, oh, this guy's gonna come in, he's just gonna be cracking jokes all day, and he got shredded for the film. Obviously, we knew that beforehand, so I was like, he's obviously got a good bit to do. But when he had a lot of heart and everything, I was kind of surprised by how not focused on humor he was, if that makes sense. I just thought he was going to be in there for comedic relief, but he really wasn't. Like, he was very funny, and his assistant, and when I saw the assistant coming along, I was like, oh, they're doing this again, where they're bringing somebody in and they're going to be funny and they're going to hang around for the whole film. But he was actually very funny. Like, the two of them had really good chemistry, and I love that the line killed me where he was like, when I first met him, we were together for like 20 years. He thought I was a vampire and he tried to stab me in the heart. I was like, that is so funny, dude. I was like, absolutely hilarious. And like, with what's coming in the future as well, obviously vampires are going to be introduced into the MCU. So I'm like, that's actually very funny that they've mentioned a vampire like that, where that's going to become the norm very shortly. Like, so that line will be even funnier in a couple of years' time.
I've apologized many times before.
Yeah. Oh, it's very funny.
I thought his assistant had like almost like the best moment in the whole movie when he was like thanking the Eternals and saying goodbye to him.
Yeah.
Like it was like
Yeah.
such a good moment. I was like, Jesus, dude, like calm down, bro. This isn't your movie.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
stop stealing this. What the fuck are you
You're just
doing?
meant to be recorded in the corner, bro. Keep quiet. The cameraman doesn't talk. I loved
I
how
always bring a spare camera.
I loved how many cameras he had. Like, every time a camera got smashed, he just had did you notice as well the cameras were getting smaller as it was going on?
Yeah.
So it was like each time it smashed, like by the end of it, he's holding a little tiny handheld. I thought it was so
I love-
funny, dude.
I love the scene when Kingo powers up his charge, and then
Yeah.
he gets the shot off,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Did you get that?"
Yeah, and he's like, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. Druig was great. He was one of my favorites, obviously, as well. Being a man from Dublin, that's
and
my
like,
bias.
how good was it? I went to that movie thinking he was going to be like the bad guy, and they
Yeah.
totally sold that
Yeah,
in the
Mhm.
trailers. That they were setting him up to be kind of the villainous character.
yeah.
Man, that was rad how they did that, bro. Great
'Cause
marketing right there.
he kind of was, though, at the same time, because he went off into the Amazon and he took control of an entire village, and like that was
Right.
very much against what their rules and what their orders were. So in a way, he was a villain, but he wasn't doing any damage. Like he was trying to end like war, and they were told, don't get involved. This is not what we're here for. But he's cared too much, and it was like, I've had enough. Like, I'm leaving you, so I'm going to stop this. And then obviously goes on and does what he does in the Amazon. But I thought, yeah, like, very clever way to make him a villain and make him dispatched from the team, but at the same time he's still a really good guy. Like, he's been cast out for doing the right thing,
Yeah. Almost Doctor Doom in a sense, right? Where it's like,
Yeah.
you'll live better and be happier under my rule, and
Exactly.
living like this.
Oh my god, it's so good. And
Yeah.
I absolutely love the subtle chemistry between Makari and Druid.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like,
it was fantastic.
That was it wasn't shoved in our face. It was like a nice little build up, and then it's like, really, you guys didn't notice this before?
Yeah, I love that
No.
when he's like, wait, when did this start? Like, it's like hundreds of years ago.
Yeah. That little lean in he did, like on the ship where he just like leaned
Yeah.
in to fuck with her. That's like the most I've ever seen like an actual relationship being shown on screen, right? Where it's like
Yeah.
just like the little like fuck with you moment. Like,
Yeah,
it's
for
so
sure.
good.
Yeah, it was like,
Speaking
it
of
was,
though,
go ahead.
oh no, if you're gonna keep going on that,
No, I was just gonna say, I just thought it was their chemistry was shown very well, like in the fact that like they hadn't seen each other in hundreds of years, and it's like they just picked up where they left off. Like, it was great acting from both of them.
yeah. And I was just gonna bring up the sex scene in the very beginning. Might be the most awkward, needless sex scene I've ever seen in a movie.
Was this with Icarus and Thing?
And
Yeah.
Cersei.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like,
I
And
know.
it's like the first 5 minutes of the film, and they're just like boning each other, and like it's one, it wasn't like graphic, but it was one of those like really sensual sex scenes where they like half body shots, and they're just like
Yeah.
it's just like okay,
You know, the
that's
motion
cool.
of the ocean.
Dude,
Yeah, was like, what the fuck is this?
I had sitting like 3 seats over from me on my right hand side. There was like a 10-year-old boy with his mom and dad. Like, and like, do you remember when you were that age and like a sexy, even if there was like no like tits or anything seen, if there was like
Yeah.
anything that came up that even like suggested sex, I remember being young, just going, I gotta get out of this room. I can't sit and watch this with my parents. Like, but imagine being stuck in a theater and it's like,
like
oh,
that,
bro, the superheroes are fucking, they're right. And I'm
Yeah.
like, and you're stuck in the theater. You can't go anywhere.
You're like reaching over to cover your parents' eyes. You're like, stop looking at this disgusting filth.
Mom, I need to go to the toilet. It's like, shut up. Sit down.
Yeah, I almost wanted to peer on the side of me and check out that father and child and see if he was like putting his hand over his eyes.
Yeah. Oh, that's so it was so funny. That's all I could think was just like how awkward that kid sitting a few rows or a few seats over from me must feel right now. I'd say it was hilarious. Like,
Yeah, but
so funny.
what's funny though, Hoffman, is that what you just said, I didn't actually understand until I talked to Katie, and Katie was like, what was the point of that? What was the idea behind that? Why did we need that scene? What was like, we already know that they have some sort of chemistry. And then she's like, wait, what chemistry was there? And she's like, what, like, we only saw a few things here and there. And then they get married. And I was like, you're kind of right. Like they kind of sped it up so fast. I didn't even think about like how their relationship even unfurled.
Premarital sex in the Eternals. What is this?
Is this what everyone was getting angry about on fucking Rotten Tomatoes?
yeah.
Like, it's like, what?
Probably.
Yeah.
And like, I think most of the time, like sex scenes in movies are kind of unneeded. Like, they're just
Yeah.
there for,
Yeah.
to show some skin.
Exactly.
And so if the, I know that like it's used to show like a connection, like your connection being taken to another level in terms of the screenplay. But that's why it should be like near the end of the movie, right? Like not, or, the middle part, but like in the very beginning, I'm just like, what is this? Like, okay,
Yeah.
like is the director was saying, we need to show intimate moments between heroes.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it seemed more like a one night, like a Tinder hookup than an actual,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, we just met. All right, we're boning.
Yeah, where's Dane Whitman?
Time was kind of hard. Time was kind of hard to distinguish in the movie. I kind of thought, because it's like I think during that scene, like, was it to be understood that they had just been created and like they were just starting to interact with each other, or like had they known each other for hundreds of years at this stage? Like, I don't know.
My takeaway was, and it was very hard at first until they really explained, the memory wipe thing, is that they had known each other. They've done this to a lot of like hundreds of different worlds. They've done
Yeah.
this exact thing, and Ajax is the only one to remember, right? Because she's the Prime Eternal.
Yeah.
And then all of them just get their memory wiped, so it's like they're fresh new people every time, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's what I thought was the basis for it, but I don't know.
Yeah, but like if I'm just thinking of their timeline on Earth or their life on Earth, it's like when that scene happened, was it that they had just met, or had they known each other for a long time? Because like the way I kind of perceived it was, they show up on Earth and it's kind of like, the two of them kind of had a bit of something going on anyway. When they're looking at her and she's like, oh, it's beautiful, and he's like, yeah, it really is, and you could tell they had feelings for each other already. But then it's like, how much time passed when they got off the ship, and I just don't know. Like at the timelines were very confusing in it.
I feel like a part of it was slightly one-sided. I feel like Icarus was kind of pushing it. It just seemed like kind of,
Bro, like,
yeah. It's like I got to seal the deal before it's too late.
I agree though. Like, and in the very beginning, it did kind of wasn't sure where it was in the timeline. I think you're 100% right about that. That's a little poor editing. What'd you guys think about Sprite? We haven't talked about her yet.
Interesting character. It kind of reminded me of Interview with a Vampire. Do you remember that movie? And
Yeah.
Kirsten Dunst plays the kid the whole time, and it was very kind of similar to that storyline, which like is a fantastic film, and probably Kirsten Dunst's best performance ever as an actress is like a 10-year-old child. But
hello, the cheerleader one?
what?
The cheerleader one, where she's like spear fingers.
I don't even know what that is.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. That's her best performance.
Never even
Get
seen
out of
it. Sorry, okay, I retract my
Oh
statement.
man,
I retract my
You
statement.
gotta have spirit fingers.
Um, yeah, like I kind of got a lot of vibes from that film from her performance, and like I like that whole kind of storyline. You know, trapped in a kid's body, and you know you feel like you can never grow up, and you miss so much out of life. And obviously she was in love with Icarus, but Icarus saw her as a child. So like you know, can you imagine being like thousands of years old and being seen as like as a 12-year-old or whatever? I thought it was absolutely ridiculous at the end. Where you know she's going to school, I'm like, you're like 7,000 years old. Like, what the fuck do you need to learn? Like, you know, so I was like, that's
Social
absolute.
interaction.
Right.
Yeah,
And
it's like, but I was like, come on, it's like,
it's just
Yeah.
it's just a funny way of saying like she's gonna integrate into society. But that part actually reminded me of Leon the Professional. You know, in that chemistry in which you know, Natalie Portman's character is in love with Leon because, you know, he saved her.
what a
And
film, what a film, bro.
yeah, it's so good.
What a
And
film.
even to the end though, like she's still like, you know, eventually he did say I love you too, but like it was at a point where it's like, but we can't be together.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
and that's exactly how I felt near the end of the movie.
Yep. I agree, and like I think Sprite's first moment in this movie is like what got me really excited in the movie theater. You know, I'm a huge fan of really good writing in movies, like that. I think a lot of people don't see like how bad a script actually is. And so when like right from the very beginning, where they have her faking her, you know, body,
Yeah.
someone touching her, and then like her like leaving the
disappearing.
bar, like looking back, all like you kind of, you know, envious a little bit, right?
yeah,
Was like right when they did that, I was like, this can be a fucking great movie. Like they get it.
yeah,
And I think part of me kind of hates how short this movie was, and I wish it was a little longer, because I thought a lot of the cool things they could have done with this movie were like explore the idea of sprites being eternal, kind of being like a curse. I wish they would explore things like that a little bit more. They had no time to do it because they were trying to, like, you know, they had to pack in so much work into this movie. But I thought that her character was so good, and I wish we would have gotten more story about her living 1,000 years as a kid and like what that meant for her, because I think that was like one of the pillars of that movie that could have been like its strongest thing, and why she went with Icarus, and like, you know, all this stuff besides like, I love Icarus, I'm going with them. Like maybe there could have been scenes about Icarus being the one empathizing with her about being a kid, with the rest of them
yeah,
are kind of like joking about it like Gilgamesh was, you know?
yeah, absolutely.
What's interesting about these stories is the fact that they did, like, I took some research and I found out that they took this type of story from the 20th century arc of the Eternals, where in 1906 an earthquake happens in San Francisco, like destroying or damaging the chamber that the Dreaming Celestial resided in. And they do use the Unimind, and the entire, like, so this entire story is based on the 20th century arc, and it even ends the same way in which Sprite is able to grow up.
yeah,
So I think it's really interesting that they do take a look at some of the comics. Like, they didn't just pull this out of their ass and just say, you know what, this is what's going to happen, this is how it's going to be. They actually took a part of the history and said, you know what, this will look good in a movie.
this ain't Sony, bro. They follow the MCU follow the source material. So like fucking Sony's like, oh, Venom, it's like, yeah, he has no connection to Spider-Man, fuck that. We'll do what we want. Yeah,
Can I just say how much I love the humor in this movie, and how it wasn't the traditional MCU humor where every scene had to end with a joke, and after everything serious is said, they have to do a punchline. Like, they did away with that in this movie.
Yeah.
And I wish they would take a note that, like, you don't have to end every fucking serious moment with a joke for levity.
Yeah.
Like, you can let it sit. I wish they would do more humor, kind of like Fasto's characters, where it's like a little bit more subtle humor, you know, a little kind of underhanded jokes and stuff. Like, it doesn't always have to be an over the top funny line, just to, like, you know, get us moving along to the script. Like, I think that was one of my favorite things about why this movie felt like it was just, you know, kind of elevated above a lot of the other MCU movies. While it might not be as good of a movie, it definitely tries to like elevate itself there and take itself a little bit more serious. And I love that about it, man.
I agree. 100%.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah. Oh, like, yeah, it really was. It was great. Like, I do want to watch it again. I want to get like kind of more like attached to some of these characters. What did you think of like Cersei, the main character? Like, cause like me and my girlfriend were talking, it was kind of like she was a little flat or something. Like she was kind of just like I didn't really
like
care what happened to her. Like, you know, she was kind of just there. Like she was a love interest. Like there was a triangle going on, like there always is, and it was just kind of like, what else did she do? And then like, you know, I don't know. It was like she was just real flat for the whole film, and then it's like at the very end of the movie, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, like she's like the most powerful thing, and you've been overlooking her for the entire thing. I was kind of like, I was like, no.
I think the best statement for me on that is, too much confusion, not enough enthusiasm. And
Yeah.
and it just really hit that way. Like she was just so confused about who she is and what she's supposed to do. And it hits those tropes of like, you need the motivational speech to get her back up and running. And although that did create a pretty funny joke of, Fastos running in, it's like, Cersei, and it's like, I already did the speech, it's fine.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
That was great.
Mm.
There was a lot of really, really clever humor in it. I think they've kind of gone down a road that they kind of can't go back on now with Thor, and it's like, it's kind of just like silly kind of drunk humor or whatever, like, but now it's like with that, at least it's clever humor that you can kind of get behind, and they don't need to be dropping it every fucking 3 minutes like Hoffman said, like,
Yeah, and I don't know. She you're right. Like she was flat, and even though she had like big moments, at the same time, like she really just like disappeared. It felt like, right?
Yeah.
Where you could tell, like Kingo was in the film, like you knew he was in a scene, even if he wasn't on camera, and she was just hidden. Like she just kind of like she was like clamped up in a shell, and maybe that was intentional.
Yeah.
For like her bigger moment at the end, but for her being, I guess, like the leading star of this movie, or supposed to be the most important Eternal, it just wasn't there, man.
Yeah, like I think like if you go back and watch it again, I think most of her time on the screen is just her sitting there with just a kind of like look of kind of like confusion / sadness on her face. Like she doesn't even really talk that much for a lot of the movie, and it's kind of just like she's kind of just like broken up by the whole thing and just lost, as Alex was saying. But yeah, I don't know. I thought she could have been better.
Yeah, I mean, she was late to her own class, She's like, yeah, I'm gonna be late to this too.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, and that
relationship with her and the Black Knight, can't wait for that to see that in the future. I thought they had pretty good chemistry, and they're them together was really good.
Yeah. Do you know much about the Black Knight, Alex, or either of you guys? I hear the sword's meant to be like Mjolnir, like it's meant to be like badass, like weapon.
Powers come from the the sword, like. It not only do his powers come from it, like his entire like doesn't he like get the suit from the sword, like when he wields it or something?
I believe so.
And like he's
the Ebony Blade.
Yeah, the Ebony Blade.
Yeah.
He's actually like a leader of the Avengers. I believe he is very important with the Avengers and Kang the Conqueror. And eventually goes to lead the Avengers through the storyline with Kang the Conqueror.
Wow.
So like he's a really important dude eventually.
Yeah.
But who knows if that's the route they're going to take with him in the MCU.
I feel like that's what they are doing, because they've just seemed to have like built Kit Harington up a lot, and like for this movie he didn't really do much, so I'm like, are they kind of like hyping him up in the kind of lead up to the movie because they do have plans for him in the future? It's kind of like, oh, let's keep talking about Kit and how great he is, and his performance was so good. And that when you see the movie, it's like, what? Like, we need more Kit? Like, what were you guys talking about? Like, so it's very clever how they do that. Because
that blade was so badass.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it looked really cool.
He was like about to touch it, and you could see it was like about to, like, whatever. Obviously, the makes up the suit was about to jump off the sword. Like,
yeah.
Who was it that was talking to him at the very end?
I know who.
Do you know who it was?
I know who. Yeah.
Go on.
All right, ready? Who do you think it was? Let me get your opinion. Who you thought it was?
I was trying to make out the voice, and I would have loved to have been able to like rewind it back and listen to the voice again. But is it it's someone that we know already, or is it like a new character? It sounded
it's a new
like
character.
Yeah, it sounded like Morgan Freeman or something. Like I didn't know who it was.
I think that like I just want to add like an extra thought. I would love to see Merlin. So I would love to see, like, I guess maybe a modern version of Merlin being like, you don't know what you're about to get into.
I don't know anything about Merlin in the MCU, so that would be cool. But the person that was in the end confirmed was the voice of Marshall Ali.
Oh my God, it's Blade. Wow.
It's fucking
Woo!
Blade, bro.
Let's
Wow.
go.
Confirmed by
Wow.
the director in an article. Like she said, that's his voice.
Wow.
And
Oh,
like,
that's
oh,
great.
it's so
And
good.
they dropped vampires in the film as well, eh?
Hmm.
Ah,
So, and
it's all coming together.
This is why I think I don't know if the Black Knight is going to go in the direction of the Avengers and dealing with Kang.
Midnight
We
Suns.
know Midnight Suns, like
That's-
they
yeah.
might take him to like that side of it because he's going to be dealing with Blade.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I could totally see. Even like maybe like the Illuminati and stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's so much different, like the darker side of the MCU that they keep talking about, which he might be
yeah.
a better fit for because the Avengers, they got a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's like Midnight Suns, like Moon Knight, like Black Knight, Blade,
Yeah.
Ghost Rider,
Bro,
Strange,
Can you imagine?
Wanda.
Can you imagine if they like had Blade on screen? Why didn't they give us Blade on screen?
Blade is like
Even
the
like a
one.
silhouette.
Blade is like the one show or like the one like character that like the Scoopers can't get anything on. Like it's the biggest secret that Marvel are holding like as close to the chest as possible. Like nothing has come out about it, and like all this like the big Scoopers have got nothing, and it's very impressive. It's very impressive, especially the fact that if it, like they've confirmed that was his voice in that film, and nobody spoke like didn't.
Yeah.
There was no mention of Blade being anywhere near this movie, bro.
It was probably him
crazy.
and like the director like recording the voice, and like
Yeah, she just
Kit
like
Harington probably didn't even know who was talking to him. They just
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
had
yeah.
someone delivering a line.
wow, that's crazy.
Okay. I'm kind of hoping they had multiple takes and they had a few funny ones, like some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill.
Yeah. Because, like, you would think that it would be, like, Fury. Like, it's just such an obvious one always that it's Fury. But it's so cool that it was Blade. Imagine he showed up in Doctor Strange. Imagine Wesley Snipes showed up in Doctor Strange. Boom. Boom. I heard that it's been in the rumor. It's been in the rumor mill.
No.
It has. It's been in the rumor mill.
I know you said that you knew about Harry Styles. I was surprised they kept that one. I didn't know about it. I'm somebody who like I don't go looking for the spoilers, but they end up in my feeds and stuff.
Harry
'Cause
Styles.
I have around.
The second after the premiere, Harry Styles was trending on Twitter, and one of the big pages that I follow was like, Harry Styles is trending. Yeah, it's probably fine. We don't need to worry about it. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then
What do
I
you think
started,
about him being Euros?
yeah, I don't know, bro. I need to see more. Like, I don't know. I've never thought of Harry Styles as a fucking actor, like, especially coming into the MCU and playing Thanos' brother. Like, I'm like, what? I'm like, where did this come from? Like, it's just such a bizarre casting to me. But again, I will never throw shade on anybody before I see a performance after Heath
What do you-
Ledger as the Joker. You know what I mean? I think the world learned from its mistakes after that one. Like, and I think,
Yeah.
same with
do you-
Pattinson. Like, it's like, let's just see what he does.
Yeah. What do you think about Patton Oswalt taking a break from MODOK to do Pip?
Yeah, like I can hear one word out of that guy's mouth, and I know it's him straight away. He has one of the most distinct voices in the world, and he just is he's in everything. Like, sure, he was even in Agents of Shield. Like, he had like a IRL like role in that. That was a pretty big role in that show as well. So like, he's popped up in the MCU like twice now, and he's obviously in loads of different like Marvel content and DC and everything. Like, he's on that Netflix show Happy. He's in that show as well. Like, he's just got it.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere. Yeah, he is.
Like,
He is.
I recently watched Starsky and Hutch, like with Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller,
Great film.
and he was in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Great film, dude. Great film. That's one of those
I
like
know you... No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, when for me, like around the like late 90s, early 2000s was when like the kind of teen comedies were at their best, and that was around like when like Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson and like what's his name? Oh my god. Adam Sandler and all, like, they were in like their prime, and those movies were just, I don't know if it was maybe I was just the right age at the time, but I feel like even like if you go back and watch Happy Gilmore now, it's such a great film. Starsky and Hutch, great film. Like, it's like that was a magical time for that genre, and I think that genre has just completely died off now. Like, Adam Sandler just makes nothing but shit now, and like Ben Stiller is nowhere to be found. It's just Owen Wilson's like doing serious roles now. He's not even like doing comedy stuff anymore. So it's a dead time for that industry.
I feel like Ben Stiller is just, I think he has enough money to just be done if he wanted to. So
Yeah.
it's fine. With
respect
Adam
it.
Sandler, Yeah, and with Adam Sandler, I think he's just having fun at this point now. Whether it's a good movie or whether it's a bad movie, I think he's doing it just for his friends.
Yeah,
Um, it's much like Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith is making movies because he wants to make movies that he's always envisioned.
yeah.
So,
Facts.
but I heard Uncut Gems was great. I never watched it, but I heard
I
it
don't.
was great.
I don't think it wasn't a comedy though, right? It was like it was a serious movie.
It was
Right.
funny, but it wasn't a comedy.
Yeah. And like that's cool to see that, but like he's brought out some horrible films in the last few years, and it's like, bro, like just give it up, like you've in my eyes, you're a complete success, you're phenomenal, you will hold some of the funniest movies in our lifetime, like like hang it up, bro, you deserve it, I just don't think you need to continue making shit movies just to be making movies. But hey, look, whatever. That's what he wants to do. Like he's got his own production company. You know what I mean? He's making movies himself. Like behind the scenes, he's doing a lot of work. So I respect that, but I just don't think he should step in front of the camera anymore unless it's something that's great. But then as well, I think the world that we live in now is just too sensitive for, like, you can't bring out movies like Happy Gilmore anymore. Like there's just so much like what's considered now to be dark humor that you just can't get away with, and like I think the shock value in a lot of those movies, it just doesn't land today. Like you can't do stuff like that anymore. So I think that's kind of why the genre's died as well. Like I think back to any of those movies, like they're like half the comedy that if you tried dropping the stuff today, it would never get made. People would be getting cancelled all over the place. It's just it's too much.
Remember
Cable
when
Guy?
they were trying? Yeah. Remember when they were trying to bring
What
when
a
they were
film.
trying to bring slapstick back and they were trying to do the Three Stooges?
Yeah,
Like they tried to bring slapstick back and it just didn't work.
yeah.
So
No, I think their time is done.
yeah.
Big time. Big time.
So when it comes to the Black Knight, and we've already got Venom and whatnot. So the interesting thing about the Ebony Blade is that it's also tied to Null somehow, which and Null is one of the creators of dragons. So there's such thing as symbiote dragons. And so they could possibly make a movie on that so that they can introduce like beings that were created by Null. Because they've already got the Celestials working, and so they need other characters that might be opposing to those Celestials, such as Null, and it might help to grow that. But I'm not sure how much they can put out, because in terms of Venom, I'm assuming that's still a symbiote character that can't be used by the MCU. It has to be used by Sony, so I'm not sure how much we're actually going to get. Although Feige is working with Sony, right, on 2 projects.
Yes. Do you know, I heard something today, yesterday. Rumors, not official or anything, but apparently when Tom goes over to Sony, he's going to get the symbiote like pretty much straight away. So I
Good.
don't know if that is going to then change the whole like kind of storyline and like abilities and everything, and even appearance maybe of Tom Hardy's Venom. Maybe they might just, the second they get over there, try and like course correct what they've done to kind of make Venom a very different character, to kind of maybe claw it back to the continuity or whatever. We'll see.
I can't wait to see Sony fuck up Spider-Man once again. I cannot wait. It's gonna be terrible, and I'm here for it. Like fucking.
While we're talking
the
about Sony, let's talk about that new Morbius trailer.
Oh man,
Looked pretty good. I definitely am always apprehensive about a superhero movie from Sony. They have a horrible track record, but from the looks of the trailer, like I thought they nailed the look of Morbius. Him,
Dark.
in his more human form, him in his more vampire form. Jared Leto is fucking insane. Like that dude is really having a renaissance in his career right now with the roles he's getting.
Yeah.
And this looks like it could be a really good movie.
Yeah.
yeah. I really like Jared Leto, and the role that they had him in previous comic movies, it just didn't seem to fit well. So seeing him as Morbius, I actually I'm starting to believe it. And it looks great. The costume so far, as much as we've seen, looks fantastic. And the whole flying situation, that's going to be really interesting, because as far as we know, like we only see like part of his body emanating like this weird kind of like gravitational pull.
Mhm.
So we'll get an idea.
Nightcrawler. The powers seems like very like Nightcrawler, like it's very like teleporting, popping around the place and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It looks crazy, and like he's able to throw objects. Like you see, and because tonight before Eternals they showed a trailer for Morbius, but they showed the one from like 2018. I was like, why are you showing the old trailer? But in that trailer, I hadn't seen it in so long, but I forgot, like, there's a part where he, like, throws a ball or something, and, like, he catches it, but, like, his smoke is, like, purple. But in this trailer, the ball is, like, red or something, so I don't know if he's able to, like, make stuff teleport or something. I don't really know what they were getting at, but, yeah, I think he looks fucking great. He looks so like this comic, like. Like, I think, like, you know, the special effects for when he's like full vampire looks amazing. Like I'm really excited about this film. It's very confusing though. I don't know what they're playing at or what they're trying to do. Like all these references to, they've basically referenced the Venomverse and each of the Spider-Man universes in this trailer in one way or the other. I don't know if you saw the breakdowns for that. Like they have like Oscorp from Andrew Garfield's universe. They have the Spidey from the Raimi universe spray painted on the wall, and then you have obviously the Vulture showing up.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton, like, so it's like I was listening to a kind of someone kind of doing a kind of hypothetical breakdown of the trailer and what they think might be happening, and they think that potentially what could be happening is that halfway through the film Leto gets scooped up and brought into the MCU. So like half the movies in like the Sony verse or Venom's universe, because obviously, you know, he does the whole I am Venom thing. And then the second half of the movie, potentially he gets leaped into the MCU, and that's where he meets Vulture, and potentially, you know, there's a hint there that he could potentially turn into one of the Sinister Six down the line or something like that, or he could be the potential sixth member or something like that in a future movie or something.
See, my only
They're just
concern.
gonna live in the MCU. Like, do you think like they're just?
I think
they're just gonna stay there. They're not even gonna pull them back to their own world. Like, just like no, they all live here now.
I think there'll be a, like, movie wise, it'll only be for like 2 movies, but like in our timeline, like in the IRL time stream, it's gonna be like a couple of years. You know what I mean? Like, I think there'll be like I don't think Doctor Strange 2 fixes everything straight away. Like, I don't think they break it in Spider-Man and then it's fixed straight away. I think it's going to go on for a while. And like, even like, you know, your man Tyrese, the actor who's actually in Morbius, he plays a cop in the film. There was like an interview from him like 2 years ago where he kind of dropped that he's like, oh, I signed a big contract with Marvel and I'm going to be appearing in loads of Marvel movies. And they're like, oh, you mean Sony? And he's like, no, the MCU. And they were like, what are you talking about? He's like, all these movies that I'm in are in the MCU. And like, you know, Feige obviously going and saying like, what the fuck are you talking about? And people put it down to him not knowing what he was talking about. But now it's like, oh, everything actually is in the MCU. So it's like, this guy actually, I think he maybe spoiled something that he probably shouldn't have said. So he's obviously signed on a deal to maybe do 3 Morbius movies, and they all seem to be in the MCU. So I don't know. I think this crossover is going to be for a long time, dude.
And I think my question is like, how many ingredients can you throw into a soup before it becomes terrible?
Yeah, for me a lot when it comes to Spider-Man, like, because, you know, I'll instantly love like if they start bringing like Spider-Man into the Morbius story, Spider-Man into Venom, Spider-Man into like Carnage. You know, I think that it works really well. Like, you know, and then you do like a Spider-Verse live action, and you do like Secret Wars, like the Spider-Man version of it, and then lead into the actual Secret Wars or something like that, and then that's how you close it up and end it. But that's like 5 years down the line, like, you know, like there's a long time away before they get into Secret Wars. So yeah, like I think there's a potential for a lot of content there, and like I'm game for it. Like they've just announced the Craven movie as well, so it's like, you know, that's all linked to Spider-Man. So I think they have. And like Feige had said originally when they signed this deal with Sony, they said like when the multiverse opens, Spider-Man will be the only character that can swing between universes, is like the official thing that he said. And it's like, you know, is he talking about Tom bouncing back and forth, or is he talking about different Spider-Man kind of being around? You know, so yes. It's like that's what I think is going to happen. That's what I think can happen. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I I think Toby dies in Doctor Strange because it's the Sam Raimi movie. Like that's my prediction. And I think that Andrew then goes back into like the Venom verse and maybe gets his own movie, or like then like part of Venom 2 or 3, sorry, or whatever it is. Like, you know, that's kind of my prediction. That's how I see it going, and that makes sense to me. And then like kind of Tom Holland maybe, you know, goes over, gets the symbiote, goes back to the MCU, brings the symbiote to the MCU, and then we get another Venom in the MCU or something. Be kind of wild. That would be wild.
Have they had any talks about Into the Spider-Verse 2 lately? Like,
It's coming out next year.
We're coming up to the year, and I haven't seemed to have heard anything about it.
Did I hear they're
Like
bringing
no rumors, no leaks.
they're bringing like they're bringing one of the like like a big spider character into it. I can't remember if it was. I think it was like Spider Woman or something, or one of these, or maybe Madam Web or something like that. I read something a while ago that there was going to be like a big reveal, like of a kind of classic Spider-Man character coming into that movie in animation. You know, that could all lead to live action.
I also think we're at a good point to throw in the symbiotes. Like you can throw in Venom, you could even throw in Agent Venom if you wanted to, just to have fun.
Yeah,
you know, but it just
don't have fun.
No, don't have fun.
Carnage was terrible. That was such a bad movie.
No,
not live action. We're talking about the Spider-Verse.
Oh, like I thought you
okay.
Sorry.
Into the Spider-Verse is like one of the best movies ever made, bro. Like,
felt like Hoffman was about to have a heart attack.
Yeah. If they're gonna do Agent Venom, I think they need to do it with a different Flash Thompson, because I hate the MCU Flash. I hate him.
We definitely need an adult.
Yeah, I hate him so much. He's not a bully. He's not like I would stand on that kid. Like I could not be afraid of him whatsoever. Like, honestly,
he's part of the math team. Like, give him
like
a break.
He's a debater, bro. Like, come on. I think like you gotta hand it to like the Raimi verse and to like Andrews. Like their flashes were like both like good character, like good casts and good portrayals of the character. Like, this guy is just a nerd. I'm like, how is this guy a bully? Like,
now that I think about it, did Flash ever return in Spider-Man 2 with Tobey?
I don't think so. Or maybe he did, but he was kind of. I think he was a kind of. They started to kind of warm to each other a bit in that movie, if I remember correctly. Because I think it was after. Was it after?
Because they started going to college at 2, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to remember now. I think did someone. I think it was after. Was it after Uncle Ben's death or something that he kind of. Flash starts warming up to him. He stops bullying him because it's like, you know, he can see he's clearly distraught over losing his uncle.
I think so, but I think he still also messes with him in college as well. Like, we got to we're definitely going to rewatch them.
Yeah,
I
think these are I think for the next kind of movies, because we're kind of finished with the timeline of the MCU now. I think for the podcast that we don't have any new content, like next week, for example, yeah, like next Friday, I think we could do a Spider-Man movie or something like that for a rewatch. Like maybe the original Spider-Man movie, like Tobey 1.
That's one thing I'm actually excited about, is the fact that every month we're going to get at least one Marvel film.
Yeah. I'm kind of scared too, though. Is it too much?
Oh, it's definitely too much because of Disney Plus. I think if it's just movies, it'd be fine. But I think the Marvel content coming out on Disney Plus is way oversaturating this. Way oversaturating it. Especially like when they get it rolling, you know, once like we get, you know, after Hawkeye, we get like Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel, whatever she is. Moon Knight probably has a good chance, but it still can contribute to the oversaturation. You know, they want to do like a Wakanda show that focuses on people who aren't in the movie. Like, it's just going to be like on and on and on, and it feels too much. I don't know if it was a joke or not, but like, you know, the guy who loves seeing Spider-Man, like the guy who like tells Spider-Man to do a backflip and then he's in Shang-Chi on the bus.
Yeah.
They said he's going to get a show.
What?
I don't know if they're joking or not. I'm like, so it's believable at this point. If it was a joke, I believe it because of how much they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, what if they were shorts? Like, what if they were just, you know, quick 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes at the most, and just, you know, day in the life of this dude, like where Spider-Man is available. And I feel like it's depending on where they place him, it might be too soon or too late. Because if you were to have Daredevil, portrayed if you're at Blade and whatnot. Like you can have those characters kind of show up on and about, and then have this guy with shorts, and he just happens to be in the areas where he sees like those occurrences.
I just, I think that when you tap back into a well like that character too much, the joke gets played out very fast.
Right.
So I don't think he works. And I just think that, the MCU being spread out so much, like, why do you think Black Widow kind of sucked? Because the focus of Kevin Feige is all over the place. It's not just on one movie anymore, or it's not on like the next 3 movies.
Yeah.
Like he's having to look at so much now that, he assigns other people to it,
Yeah.
which I'm sure he did in the past, but I'm sure he was more hands-on with like the final says. And I think he's just getting spread too thin. I think, the MCU, even though it's like 23 movies so far or whatever, there's a lot of them that made sense and flowed. And when they came out, it felt like a big event. But, they keep hitting you every month of the movie. And then in between those, the releases of those, it's a new Disney Plus show. It just feels less special and like more like the comic books, which is like good, I guess. But it's not like the comics are, the comic book industry is at its best place ever right now. It's not like.
Mm-hmm. I can see that, because when it comes to Black Widow, it did feel like they didn't take additional time and care to actually consider what we would want to see on the big screen with Black Widow and her family. But like when it came to Eternals, like that worked out really well, and they must have taken a lot of time, because of course it almost reached 3 hours, which it shows how much they really wanted to pack in and how much they knew like what was going to work, what wasn't going to work. And it wasn't it's not a perfect movie, but it did so well. Like we actually, we were excited to talk about it, which makes me really happy about the future, and hoping that we get additional movies that are going to hit us just as hard, especially when it comes to new characters, like when we get Moon Knight, when we get Blade, when like all the people, like we're going to get Black Knight eventually, that like I really hope they all hit just as good. Like these new characters are actually giving us something more than just a sequel or just like a continuation of the stories.
How far into the future do you think Kevin Feige is right now?
10 years.
Like
I think
he's
out.
working on projects 10 years down the line. He's like, everything that we've got coming, it's like that was Feige's project fucking 3 or 4 years ago. It's scary to think, isn't it?
Maybe not like a lot of structure, but knowing that, hey, in 10 years we're going to need to be at this point.
Yeah.
So at 8 years we need to have these movies launching, and then because we got those movies coming out here at 5 years, we need these.
Yeah.
Like it's very easy kind of to be in that kind of position, I think, for him.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think the reason Eternals was so good is probably Kevin Feige probably had his attention on this movie.
Yeah.
Because it was like the next big
It's a
start
lot.
to a big
Yeah,
team.
it's a stepping point. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like Black Widow falls through the cracks, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And
They took so much out of what makes Black Widow so good, and they also took concepts that shouldn't have been in that movie and spliced it with things just to see, like, it's almost like they were experimenting. They were like, what would happen if we did this?
They turn
could
Shield into like child killing fucking monsters. They're shooting at a plane, like they're shooting at the kids in the plane. What the fuck?
They cut out a Tony Stark scene from that film, which would have actually been fire.
See, that's so. I hate that they've been doing that, man.
Dude, it's like the timeline of this film is 2016. It's directly after. It's the 2 years that they go into hiding after Civil War. Of course, Tony would be in it. Like, where the fuck is Steve Rogers? Why didn't he pick her up at the very end of the film? It's like, show us that. Like, CGI it in. It doesn't even need to, like, see him from a distance. I don't even need to see Chris Evans' face. You just need to see, like, him in the suit, like someone in the suit walk out, and it just makes the film clap so much more. It's so stupid, bro.
They're overthinking it, man.
They really are. They really are. And it's like such little victories. I've always said this as well about Iron Man. Iron Man is such an easy win, bro. You don't even need Robert Downey Jr. half the time. Like, I know they kind of joke, and he said it in an interview once. He's like, the second the helmet closes, that's not me anymore. And people are like, oh my God, I can't believe it. No, you've ruined it. Like, but he's like, yeah, dude, anytime you don't see my face, I'm fucking nowhere to be seen. Like, I'm not there, So it's like, why don't they have, like, and I've always said this about, like, I used to say it all the time about, like, Daredevil, for example. It's like, how fucking cool would Daredevil be if, like, you know, he's sitting on a rooftop and you just see Tony Stark shoot by the suit, like, you know, going into the Stark Tower, like, and it would cost nothing. It would fucking be 10 minutes work for some special effects dude, and it would just tie everything up so amazing, like, and just make everything just work so well, so good.
Oh, Finto, speaking of Captain America, though, how did you feel about the shield not being any sort of reference to Captain America?
Captain Rogers, sir.
Yeah, did you notice? Like, are you talking about where they were on the jet and the shield was in the background? His old shield. Did you see that?
No, I'm talking about. Oh, sorry, I meant to put some context in Eternals.
Yeah, in Eternals. Yeah. Did you see his like his 1940s shield was on the jet when they were flying?
Oh,
did you notice that it was on the it was on the back wall. The very first shield, like from his costume when he was doing the acting, like. That shield was actually hanging up in the jet, which I thought was great. I thought that was really funny. Sorry, you're gonna have to explain. Give me something further. What are you talking about the shield? Sorry.
With Kingo and the dance number and like the movie that he was creating, they had shields. And there was a rumor that shield was like a shield that was referenced long ago, and it was supposed to be like the inspiration for Cap's shield.
I didn't even really think that. Like, I don't know if that kind of like I just didn't really think about it, really, to be honest.
Yeah, like all the extras had like there was like 5 of them with like the Captain America shields. It was all red.
Bro, I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, they had these big balls, but the real big giveaway was the star. It looks like the Captain America star. It's got the lines. It's got like the extra lines inside of the star. Like
yeah, I need to watch that again, bro. I was like just focusing on the girls dancing, really, to be honest. I didn't notice anything else. I was just like watching that one. No, I was just watching the one in the middle. Like I was just because obviously that's like where your attention's meant to be. Like so, I wasn't even paying attention to anything else. Like
it's so funny you mentioned it.
Someone get Lady Fennel right now.
It's funny you mentioned that. I remember going to Vegas on my like 21st birthday. I was taken to Vegas and we went to go see this burlesque show. I came out and there's a bunch of these drunk dudes and like, how was it, man? Was it great? And I was like, yeah, it was fantastic. And you know, he's like, were the women beautiful? And I was like, yeah, they were great. And I said, and there was also a part in the show, like an intermission, where you see like a mini Michael Jackson with like a monkey puppet, and they're tossing bananas. And he's like, I don't. Okay, I'm gonna like. He didn't want to hear anything about anything other than the women there. I just thought it was hilarious.
That is so funny.
Me, I like the show for the show. Like, yeah, you know, I like to watch stuff.
Yeah, I get you. Speaking of, we were talking about Moon Knight a couple of minutes ago. I heard apparently Ethan Hawke is going to be in that show. And do we know? I don't know if this is speculation or not, but apparently he could be down to be playing Dracula on that show.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Which would be fantastic.
Like, I don't know anything about Moon Knight that much.
So yeah, Moon Knight is the one with Oscar Isaac that's coming out, and he's kind of like the Batman of the MCU. He's like, is he a schizophrenic or something? Isn't he? Or he's
you don't know?
Yeah, he died, and I can't remember the god being that brought him back to life. It was the moon god.
Yeah,
and it was said that you're going to be my avatar of the moon, and you're basically going to fight, like basically destroy all enemies of, you know, the moon, in a sense. That's about as plain as I can make it. I can't remember right off the top of my head.
I didn't know there's so much moon hate in this world. Jesus,
it's really all starting to kind of shape up though, right? Like, if you know, you've got Black Knight and now Blade at the very end of the film, and now you're like getting Moon Knight, and you're gonna get like they're definitely gonna team up down the line somewhere. And now you've got fucking Dracula in that, and now Blade showing up as well. Like it's all kind of coming together. Like it's gonna be amazing. Like I love Ethan Hawke. He's so cool. And I think like he would be able to pull off Dracula really cool.
Right, and so the affliction that he has is dissociative identity disorder.
Okay.
So
allegedly. Yeah.
Or is he really talking to a god? You don't know.
Well, it's like I think it's definitely a thing that he has to deal with throughout his crusade, and I think he gets rid of it over time. It just takes a while. But yeah, he has a few mental illnesses along the way, which this is one thing that I think makes Marvel so unique compared to DC. With DC, I feel, and I don't know how much you guys can agree with this. With DC, I feel like all of the heroes are perfect, are damn near perfect. They're built to the point like where they have either athletic builds or they look buff. The women are Amazonian and like a lot of them have like muscle and they're cut well, and everybody looks chiseled, whereas like their villains are just like these just decrepit and just downtrodden kind of people that really want to take revenge. And then you see Marvel, not only are the villains like crazy looking, but the heroes have issues, and some of them look downright weird. Like, and from DC I could take it from Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing is one character that I could take from DC and be like, well, that's a weird character. Whereas like you have the Incredible Hulk, you have Moon Knight, which dissociative identity disorder. You have the Eternals, although they're damn near perfect, they can go crazy. You have like Black Knight, who has the Ebony Blade, and the longer he uses it, the more crazy and bloodthirsty he becomes. You have Blade, who's like half vampire and has to struggle like with being a daywalker, and you have Morbius, who's like afflicted, but like he's so cool, but he's afflicted with the vampirism. And it's just all of these different types of heroes and anti-heroes that come about in Marvel is what makes me love the series so much. Like the franchise in a whole is just so diverse, and I love it. It's like with DC, I the only person I really like is Green Lantern, because it's all based on willpower. It's things that he can create from his mind, so it's very creative in a sense. But other than that, a lot of the characters there are very like cut, chiseled, and put out as diamonds.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that's why Marvel lends itself way better to movies, is because they create flawed characters. Coming back to Eternals, the reason that movie is great is because they are all godlike. They're Eternals. They're made in like perfection, but then their personalities and the choices they make are all flawed. Like they all have a lot of flaw in them. Versus DC, where like they kind of struggle to like get the flaws into them. They have to like go out of their way to like create flawed moments for their characters, where it kind of feels out of character. Like when Superman's like what's Superman ever doing wrong? Like unless his mind is taken over. He doesn't even have weakness outside of kryptonite. Like it's just that's the way DC is. It is a more perfect godlike character. And to me, it's why they struggle in movies. Is they're not as relatable as MCU characters, and that's 100% the reason why people watch movies or find movies really good is because you find something to relate to in the characters. Because characters are why people watch movies, not the stories. As much as I love a good story. People will remember the characters before they remember the story.
True.
Yeah.
True. Someone in the chat mentioned, I just want to throw this up to you guys and see what you say. It was Average Joe. Shia LaBeouf should be in the MCU. What do you think? And if so, who should he play?
He definitely should be in this. I just recently rewatched the movie Fury, and his performance in Fury was so fucking good.
Yeah. Great movie.
I don't even know who he could be in the MCU, man. Like, he could be any. Like, he's such a well-versed character. I can't even put on who he should be. To be honest with you,
Ben Grimm.
He's a little. I don't know if he has enough presence for Ben Grimm in his voice. He kind of has that like hollow voice that's kind of haunting. Where Ben Grimm is like really powerful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm trying to think here. Like, who could I see him playing?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be lazy. I'm just gonna say make him a mutant or something.
He's Wolverine, bro.
Yeah.
Just short, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we can make him Bobby, like make him Iceman.
True.
What's the other dude? Pyro. I like Pyro.
Oh, Pyro, yeah.
He could be Pyro because Pyro's kind of crazy and like Shia LaBeouf's kind of insane as well. Like, so he could play like Pyro maybe pretty well.
So, do you think that they're working on So, do you think they're working on the Young Avengers or the Cosmic Avengers?
No idea. To
I
be
think
honest with you.
I think we're gonna get like Dark Avengers first, with the whole like Thunderbolts thing, and like the Dark Avengers being formed. I think we get any of that, and then maybe around the same time we get Young Avengers as well, just with like Kate Bishop and all these like young characters being introduced as well.
What if we were to have Shia LaBeouf be Hobgoblin?
Like
Man, that would
Harry
be nice.
Osborn.
No, just like Hobgoblin, like not Green Goblin.
Yeah, but wasn't Harry Osborn the Hobgoblin?
I don't remember if he was the first. I think he was the second one.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So we can.
I've always just known Harry as being the Hobgoblin. Oh my God, mentioning.
It's hard to remember all of them,
Yeah, I know,
all of the
it really
names,
is.
but yeah, Roderick Kingsley was Hobgoblin, which is a name that we probably none of us know. I don't even know.
No, I don't know him either. I've always thought Hobgoblin was Harry Osborn.
I'll tell you what's really fun about the Eternals too, is how long have we heard about, and everyone, and I think myself included at some point, was making the prediction that they were going to use this movie to like set up like the X gene and the mutants and stuff, and like
Oh,
nothing,
nothing.
nothing at all, bro.
Not even a hint. How
I was
easy
like,
would
yeah,
that have
bro,
been
that's
as well?
Namor in the very beginning. Nope, nothing.
Yeah.
His dad just gets fucking eaten. Like, nope, later. Like,
Yeah, how easy would it have been to like just introduce like when I think at one point they're around like World War II, and it's just like they could have easily just dropped in a Logan there somewhere, like it could have been so simple.
he's just standing there and staring at Fessos, like breaking down and crying. He's like, "What? It's just dead people." Like,
Yeah, I respect them for not doing it, to be honest. I I think when they do eventually do like a Wolverine story, I think they got to do something similar to what they've done with Eternals, and I think they just go back in time and maybe tell stories and of how they've just existed in the shadows the whole time. I'd love to see a scene of like Wolverine during like World War II, and he kind of like shoulders Steve Rogers or something like that. Like I think that'd be just so cool. 'Cause, he'd definitely be the type of person that would like think that Cap's like too much or something, and he'd be like, oh, that guy's a jackass, like, and he'd like go and shoulder him in a hallway or something like that. I think that'd be just such a funny scene to do. Like, it'd just be great that he'd be there the whole time.
Man.
I don't know.
I don't know, man. To be honest, when it got like, I'm going back to the whole Avengers thing. I think if we're going into cosmic, proportions, I think they really should just go into the Cosmic Avengers first if they're really pushing this. But because I'm still wondering like how many more characters do we need as members of the Thunderbolts before we can actually launch that? Because as of right now, we have Zemo, we have Abomination that we could use.
Yeah, you've got John Walker, Yelena, who else? Potentially Ross as Red Hulk as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think who else. Do they have anybody else?
And it just seems like
Hawkeye,
like
maybe?
Hawkeye could definitely be in there. It just depends on how they go with the show right now. If they're going to keep him like as a simple kind of person, and like, but it does seem like it might lead into that where he does become part of the Thunderbolts because if Yelena is after Hawkeye, then it could come to a point where they come to terms with what happened. She learns the truth, and then he's like, "Well, what's going on?" And then they talk and maybe like get him to join.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be kind of funny? Because like that show to me seems like the like most family friendly fucking TV show that we were ever gonna get. Like the trailers are like so fucking like Christmassy, and it just seems like a Christmas movie. And how good would it be at the end of that show if he just joined the Thunderbolts?
Right.
I think that'd be great, dude. That'd be such a fucking like little flip of the script. Like at the end, it's like, oh wait a minute, he's Ronan again. Like imagine like it's like, oh shit, he's like going bad or whatever. Like that'd be like really cool. I think like because it's
Like,
just coming across as like Thanksgiving / Christmas vibes, and that'd be so
yeah, and the poster even has the Christmas dog there.
pizza dog.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, but we've kind of been speculating that Kingpin was going to be showing up in that show. I saw a tweet and it was like someone saying that like Vincent D'Onofrio's episodes are going to be like end credit scene of episode 5 and then like episode 6 and 7 or something like that. Like he's going to be in like half of the season apparently. Like I will lose my fucking shit if he shows up in that show. It's going to be epic, bro. Epic.
I think we've already established this, and I'm pretty sure you guys have forgotten, but I have not watched Daredevil.
Well, look,
And
if we get into December and you still have not watched that show, I am kicking you off this podcast until you watch the show. There will be a ban put in place. I'm taking your roles in Discord off you. You won't even be able to see the fucking podcast. You have to watch it, dude. Seriously, like what is the first season? Is it 13 episodes, Hoffman? I can't remember. I think
episodes?
I think in the first season of Daredevil, I think it's 13 episodes. Or
I think you're right because Netflix usually runs about 13.
Yeah.
Default, right?
13 hours, dude. You'll do it in a week, guaranteed. Because I guarantee you'll sit down, you'll watch like the first episode, and then you'll be like, shit, I need to watch the next one, and then you'll be like 4 episodes deep, and you'll be like, okay, grand. Go back the next day, you probably watch another 4. You'll do it in 3 days, like easily. It's incredible, bro.
The funny thing is that Katie and I are almost done watching The Boys. So we're on the last 2 episodes of the second season. So I think once we're done with that, we'll probably binge the Daredevil series.
You gotta watch the first 2 seasons and then watch Punisher, and like you'll be sorted then for the Netflix stuff. Actually, season 1 of Jessica Jones is incredible.
I started it and I didn't finish the first episode, and I need to go back. I was watching Luke Cage, and I know Luke wasn't great, but Mahershala Ali,
he was very good in it actually. Yeah,
he's so good. Like I've loved his character, so much.
He's very good.
And I can see why he was portrayed like he's going to portray Blade. But in terms of like the series taking like going forward and what I should watch. So you're saying go with Daredevil, and then
Daredevil.
Should I go into like? Okay.
Just watch Daredevil 1 and 2, and Punisher season 1, and I think if you have time as well, watch the first season of Jessica Jones. If you want to continue watching Daredevil, you should watch the Defenders before you watch season 3 of Daredevil, because the Defenders show, which is like a little mini Avengers show with all of them, you don't even really need to watch Iron Fist or Luke Cage, because both of them are kind of like secondary characters in the Defenders. It really focuses around Daredevil and Jessica Jones mostly, I find. So you could watch the first 2 seasons of Daredevil, then watch Punisher season 1, because Daredevil season 2 is basically the Punisher. It's basically his season. Like he takes over the show and just like steals the show. And then Jessica Jones is this first season. I loved the what's his name? David Brandt, is it? The guy who played is his name David Brandt? I can't even remember.
Doctor Who.
Yeah, he was one of the Doctor Who's, but he plays just a fucking incredible villain in that season. The first couple of episodes of the show are a little slow. It kind of just focuses on her mostly, and her kind of like alcoholism and stuff, and how she's struggling with like memory loss and all this stuff. But then when he comes into it, and like you see him like proper turn bad, like holy shit, like wow, incredible TV, bro. Like seriously. You're gonna kick yourself that you didn't watch this years ago, because it's just that good. It is that good. Yeah, Iron Fist was so bad. Kilgrave was his name in the show. Fucking fantastic.
Yeah, I really wanted to enjoy Iron Fist and the rise of Danny Rand, and it just didn't seem to hit as hard as I wanted it to. I really did like Luke Cage, and I do want to finish that at the very least, because I think I was halfway through.
Bro, if you like Luke Cage, you're like gonna go wild for Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Punisher, like, because to me, and I don't know if Drunky, have you seen every episode of all these shows? Like, have you like Luke Cage is probably the worst show out of the bunch. Like,
Oh no,
No?
Iron Fist is the worst.
I kind of liked the first season of Iron Fist, to be honest,
It's
because
dumpster. Bro, Iron Fist is so bad they fucking made a new character for the comic books. They didn't want to be associated with Danny Rand.
I totally. I just read that. I read that.
That's how bad the fucking show was. It's terrible.
I don't know.
I'm not saying Luke Cage was great.
I didn't like Luke Cage.
The way they treated Marsha Ali and like killed him off in it, or spoiler, sorry, and like changed it to like the weaker villain in it. Like the second half of that season sucked. I thought the first half was good, and then the way they ended it was terrible. It was so dumb.
I don't know. Like for me, like, do you know what's the name of the his friend or whatever, the group, like the family that are run Rand? I can't think of the main guy. Like this, there was like the son and the daughter, and they were friends with Danny growing up. The dude who plays the son is like I love him. He's a fantastic actor, and he was in Ozark. He played like the schizo brother of the mother. He was so good in it, dude. And I love the story with the dad and stuff in it as well. I just thought it was really cool.
The main character, Danny
Rand,
he
wasn't
like he was terrible, bro. Like that's the show. He's the lead.
True.
He was terrible.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones, season 2 was bad. I thought season 1 of Jessica, I can't remember. It was all right. Jessica Jones, yeah.
It was.
You know, the first half of that first season was really good, and then like they just kind of repeat this same story in the second half of the season. And they just kind of like redo it. It was weird to me. I think Alex could just get away with watching nothing but Daredevil and filling in the gaps.
You're probably right.
I think just to kind of like humor those other shows, I will watch the ones that you guys recommend first, and then make time to maybe finish those other ones up that I didn't finish. But the ones that you're definitely recommending, I will get into them as soon as possible, especially before we get into like Blade tonight. Well, I can. I totally can.
I'm actually jealous, bro, because I would love to be able to watch Daredevil for the first time again. Like that first season of Daredevil, Jesus Christ, bro, it changed like superhero TV for me. Like it was just incredible.
Oh man, it's
average show. Iron Fist is down there with the Snyder Cut.
It felt like a multiverse with the Snyder Cut, really.
I would ban Joe if it wouldn't like remove his follow and stuff. Oh my god.
So speaking of characters that were changed to better suit the series, how did you guys feel about like all of the changes to the Eternals in terms of like their gender and what their like affiliations are? I looked it up on like for the comics, and even the comics had changed their genders to suit the MCU.
Wow.
And they explain it as a means of like them being able to choose what kind of person they want to be when they come back to life. Mm-hmm. So it's, you know, it's possible that the many, like you can even explain it in the movies and say like the many lives that they lived in the past, they were one type of gender and now they're another, mm-hmm. which I think is really, really cool for their characters. And I don't think it just like ruins anything apart from like who they are. It's all based on their memories. And that's what I really liked about the show. And they did, however, change it a bit to where it was more of a memory wipe. Whereas I think in the Eternals comics, when they die, they do get their memories back. But if they have the mad wiring, like madness, then they are killed, and they need to they need to go back, like basically like previous save data.
Yeah.
So in terms of the characters that were killed early, I do believe that they're going to come out with an Eternals 2. And I believe that's what Kyle had told me a while back as well. He said that it was rumored or confirmed that one of the untitled projects was an Eternals 2, so an Eternals sequel. And so maybe we'll see Icarus come back. We'll see Gilgamesh, and we'll see. Yeah. Was it only those two Eternals that were killed? Oh, and Ajak.
Yeah.
And so if we were to like if we can reconstruct them and have like wiped memories, or they can just say that like, you know, they went to get their memory and they put it into a new body, and you know that's who they are.
And do you think they change actors and everything then? Like,
I mean, if the actors don't want to return, they can totally do that, because
Yeah.
that makes it so, like, the way they did it and the way it's explained,
Yeah.
it will make it so that you can make these Eternals any way you want, which I
Yeah.
think is probably a good idea, because, you know, as some characters get older or some characters don't want to be part of the team anymore, you know, you get a new actor to portray that person, and, you know, hopefully have the same feeling as you did with the other characters, but at the same time give you like that updated feel of like, okay, this is a new personality, and at the same time, I knew this character before, but this is like an additional spin that gives an homage to the previous person.
Yeah, yeah. Like my understanding of like how I kind of perceived the end of the movie was that they were traveling around the galaxy looking for like the other Icarus, like, or like another Icarus or another version of Ajax or whatever, because like obviously there's armies of them out there on different worlds, and you know they were like, oh, we've been weeks out here, we've been looking, we haven't been able to find them, and then obviously Star Fox comes in and it's like, by the way, you know, your friends back on Earth need your help. So then it's like, okay, we got to U-turn and go back. So like I would fully expect like someone like Icarus to return, but it not be the one from that movie, be like a different version of him that never flipped and never turned bad. I think it's an easy win for them to bring back someone like him, who I think is going to have a real big like reception from the fans. I think people are going to be like, because I was kind of annoyed when he died, because I was just like, fuck, you know, I feel like they've kind of just wasted a really good character there. If he is gone, like if it was a one and done, I'm like, oh, you know, I wish they didn't do that, you know, because up until the flip where he changed, like he was my favorite character throughout the film. I loved that portrayal of him. Like that was brilliant. With regards to like, you know, was I upset about any of the changes or anything? Like, to be honest, I know very little about the Eternals. So I didn't really, I was seeing it with new eyes. So I don't really like, I didn't know. You would have to tell me like what they were portrayed as in the comic books, if that makes sense, because I don't know the characters other from that movie that I've just watched. So
Yeah,
I've never read
agree with that.
I've never read an Eternals comic ever. So
Yeah, I had no idea. I looked up the characters after it because I was interested in how they looked and because people were talking about it. I think the only thing I'm missing is Festus. I think he's looking in the comic book is amazing. I wish I would have gave this character a bald head with like kind of the arrows or whatever coming down. I thought that was like a fucking awesome look. So I'm just kind of missing that from the comic book. But in terms of like their gender and their races, like, yeah, I'm with Fento. Don't know much about the Eternals, never have. And I know there's all these like, you know, people coming out of the woodworks who apparently were the world's biggest Eternals fans, and they all just had such a connection to these characters that they talked about the Eternals all the time. And like,
yeah,
and they're
biggest
like, I can't
Eternals
believe
fans
they
in the
changed them. Like, where were you fucking 3 years ago? Not
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of goofy. I could see like, you know, you being bummed that you don't get to see your favorite character on screen, because maybe there was a couple, but I don't think there was a lot, right? I could see people being bummed out, but for me, like, it's the same. Like, there's no difference for me.
Do you have like a little photo library, Alex, you could like throw up on the screen just to show us like what these people look like? Because I'd say me and Hoffman probably aren't the only people in the chat who don't know what the like comic characters look like. If you don't,
do you want to see their originals or the new ones?
Because
Or whatever.
the originals are like
Sure.
weird.
Yeah.
The original. I do have to agree with that. The originals are kind of weird. I'll put up a picture of like them in flight.
I actually got an NFT of Joe was mentioning it when I said I have never read an Eternals comic. He's like, you have an NFT of it, of the very first Eternals comic. I just haven't read it, but it's very old school. I think it was made, what year was it? 1976. So
Yeah.
you know, it's old school art.
Ooh.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, no worries.
There we go. Bing. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I can kind of see where they're getting inspiration from the movies nearly. Like that's very Angelina Jolie there, like, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the one in green is Cersei.
Yeah, serious boobage going on in this fucking drawing anyway. What the fuck?
That's comic books, man.
Oh, I know, sure, dude. I know. It's ridiculous.
Did
you ever see how they
on the bottom left in the red? That's Makari, the speedster, and like he just looks ridiculous in the comic book. So I'm
Yeah,
really
that
glad
is the
about
original.
change. That is a
Yeah.
little rough there.
Yeah, they didn't like. You know, it would make sense, but again, you know, they're obviously aliens or whatever. So, you know, if it was like a human with like speed abilities, I can understand why they would wear a suit or something like that. Like, you know,
Hmm.
sort of like, you know, a stone in the air doesn't like go through them like a bullet or something. But yeah, I really really enjoyed all those speedster scenes in that film today. Were just beautiful to watch. Like really really
They
well
were
done.
beautiful.
Yeah, really well done.
Quick question about that. So, in terms of, I don't know if you can patent stuff like this. Can DC like trademark, like Barry Allen's like punches? You know how he's like
Yeah.
so fast he could just like do crazy punches. Because in
Yeah.
this one, it was more so like running to create the
Force.
kinetic force.
Yeah.
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 In order to create like a powerful enough punch to hold him down,
Yeah.
and not just like go with multi punches.
I don't know if they could. I mean, they definitely weren't able to do it with Superman's eye laser beams and flying.
True.
Right.
Very true. So much so to the fact that they're like, "Hey, it's Superman."
Yeah.
In the fucking movie, like, you know.
And can you imagine if they had used that original design of like the suit that you see right now with Icarus? It looks,
The red
it
and
still
blue.
looks very, yeah, it still
Yeah.
looks very similar to
Yeah.
Superman.
Yeah. No, I like I loved the suits. I loved how they applied them. Like I just thought it was, you know, they just stand there and the suits just kind of form on them and stuff. I thought they looked great. Like I thought Robert Madden's character like just looked fantastic in the film, like flying around in the suit and all. It just looked great, and it didn't remind me of Superman at all. Even though like, you know, he's flying and he's shooting lasers out of his eyes, I just didn't think Superman at all, which is fantastic. Like that's the last thing you want.
Now, as far as languages and or dialects, I'm not well versed in knowing the difference between a Scottish and an Irish accent. So when I heard Madden's, I was trying to see if I could envision your voice and see if it matched, and it didn't match. So I was like, okay, so it's not
Yeah,
like it's not Irish. So I had to
he's
look him up.
English. Yeah, he's English.
Oh, he's actually Scottish from what I remember seeing.
Oh, like the actor is Scottish?
Yeah,
Or like the character in the movie? Because I think he's
No,
just
Matt-
doing his own like
Man-
accent.
Madden is Scottish.
Is he? Okay. Yeah,
The way
I get
know it
confused about it
is-
sometimes as well.
If you can understand them, they're Irish. So
Yeah, like if you got if people with thick Scottish accents, like, you know, they need subtitles.
Yeah.
Like you can't
Yeah.
understand a word they're saying. Like Welsh are the same. Very very hard accent to hear. Like I think people from London and stuff sound fine. You can get people from like Liverpool, for example. Like Jesus Christ, I can't understand what they're saying at all either.
Mhm.
You know, it's crazy. And then just definitely parts of Ireland where you would need subtitles as well.
Yeah, I remember watching some YouTube videos on like old pubsters that are in like Irish pubs, and
Oh, dude, yeah.
you know they got missing teeth and everything, and I'm like, oh man, dude, like you're super stereotyping right now. Like
Oh,
just
it's
find,
crazy.
you know,
There's
but like
loads
it's really.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's really interesting. I like learning about how different dialects can go from like subtle to hard,
Yeah.
and because I can understand you no problem, and I can see how Hoffman was saying that, you know, with Scottish accents it's hard to understand, and you know, at times I can agree with that. You know, their low like O sounds are really like, whew.
I would be very well spoken for an Irish person, or like especially from Dublin as well. You know, I don't know if you've ever like seen any of the videos of like Conor McGregor when he's like kind of drunk and he's going wild. Like that's what people from my area sound like, you know. And you know, you can fucking walk 5 minutes from where I grew up in any direction and every single person sounds different. You know, like one of my best friend sounds like me, but his younger brother went to a different school to us and he sounds completely different just because he went to a different school. And they grew up in the same house. They don't sound anything like each other. It's fucking insane.
And I think that's what hits so well with the Eternals is like as well. It's very subtle. You know, it didn't really put it in our faces as much, to show that like every Eternal was from a different part of the world.
Yeah. Yeah, like the Druid was like Irish, and like they had a Dublin actor just doing his voice, which was probably never heard, like has definitely never been heard in the MCU. Like, you know, there was people, I was sitting beside some people that weren't Irish, and when they heard him talk, and they're like, "Oh my god, this guy's Irish! Like, what the fuck?" And I was like, "How did you not know that?" Like, you know, I felt like just turning to them and just going, "Are you fucking for real, lads? Like, come on." He lives like 10 minutes away from this cinema we're sitting in right now. I thought that was great. But yeah, no, I know, like, I know what you're saying. Like, for me, it was just amazing just to hear, like, my accent in the MCU. Like, I was like, this is class. Loved it.
Yeah. And when I get the chance, I want to show Fastos from what Hoffman was saying, because I do agree.
I need to see that.
Fastos, he does look much cooler in the comics, and I think they really could have like added a little extra flair for him, and especially because like he has a hammer. Like he's literally the embodiment of the Olympians, right? Like he's Hephaestus.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it would have been great to portray him because he is the engineer of the group. Like he's showing off his ability to create and to advance technology. And it just looks so badass. I think it should have been that cool.
That is very cool.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like do you remember that Thor variant in Loki? What was his name?
Oh, Boastful Thor?
Yeah, Boastful Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very boastful Thor, isn't he?
Yeah.
I just love like the bald head and that like V coming down. Like it just looks powerful, man.
Yeah, dude. That's really cool. Really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Have we got any other news? I'm trying to think for the week. I don't even...
Oh.
Go on.
Did we talk about the She-Hulk? I didn't get a chance to read anything on the She-Hulk stuff per se, but I saw that you had me excited. Like you had me watch the video.
Yeah.
It totally fell out of my mind. Did you tell me about the She-Hulk stuff this week?
I sent you that video this week, yeah. So that was kind of new information from this week, but yeah. So like they were kind of just talking about, you know, explaining maybe how Ruffalo's character goes back into like his human form, which they're going to explore in the show, I believe, and obviously, you know, the origin of Walters, and jeez, I can't even remember what a lot of the video was about. To be honest, I watched it like early in the morning, and I was like half working and half watching this video. I just remember thinking like, shit, Alex is gonna love this, so I sent it to you straight away.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think they've got some really cool shit planned for that show. It's going to be absolute hype. You know, rumors that Daredevil's going to be in it, and I think we already kind of knew that though, right? Like they're definitely going to have a court case against each other. Like it's just so obvious, so obvious.
Which I'm excited for. I mean, it'd be nice to see. You know, I don't know if we're like, are we going to see She-Hulk in the court, or are we going to see Jennifer Walters in the court?
I think it'll be Jennifer Walters. I think they'll do a scene of the two of them kind of in their human form before she kind of transforms. I think I did hear as well Eli Roth was going to be in that show. So he's going to yeah. But I think
someone else.
Abomination, yeah, he's Abomination, but the actor who played him in the original Hulk movie. So it's like I think he's going to transform back maybe from Abomination back into Eli Roth, or they might do like flashbacks or something like that, but apparently the actor is involved in the show as well.
Oh, sorry, Tim Roth.
Sorry, I'm thinking, sorry, the wrong Roth. Eli Roth is the director, the horror director. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, Tim Roth. You know what I meant.
Well, it's tired, bro. I'm tired, bro. Look like him.
It's nearly 3:30 in the morning here. We're sitting here talking shit about Marvel. It's like almost 3:30 for me. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think the She-Hulk show is going to be fucking fire, absolute fire. I think we're
and I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm very much excited.
A lot of good shit coming, and I think the Disney Plus stuff, like, it seems like it's going to be like an oversaturation, but at the same time, I think it's going to be great as well. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of really good shit there. Like, even if half these rumors that we're hearing are true, it's going to be straight fire.
So, I mean, I would like to say, yeah, and agree with you, but, you know, based on the 3 that we've gotten so far,
yeah,
you know,
as long as we don't see a a thumbnail of Hoffman just looking angry, I think we're fine.
They make for good
Like, all
content, though.
All they gotta do is keep putting out the Eternals type of content. I'm there, man. Like, you know how fucking relieved I was? I finally like just love a movie, and I could just like, look, guys, I don't just fucking hate everything. Like,
Yeah.
if they make a good movie, I'm there for it. Like, I'm there.
The second I saw that you had that fire emote on Twitter, you put that up, and I was like, "Oh my god, yes!" I was like, "This is gonna be great."
Like, I wish we had this podcast, you know, back when the MCU was rolling during like phase 2 and stuff, and I was like, this is fucking awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Because like you guys would have thought, you know, you would have seen me turn into a villain. Like, it would have been a nice progression down a road of fucking hatred.
Hell
what they've
yeah.
been doing.
Hell yeah. No, it's you know, and I think the Disney Plus stuff has had a really bad start. And I think a lot of it's due to like real world circumstances and stuff, and not being able to put out what they really truly wanted to put out because they didn't feel it was right or whatever. But I think the shows are going to start leveling out and getting good. Like, I think, like, I truly see it getting to a stage where I think there's going to be content coming out that it doesn't matter if it's a movie or a show, it's going to be that good. That's where I think it's going. I think it's going to all be like at a level, like a quality and like level, so the quantity won't really matter, I don't think. Because like the way I see it going is like, because there's so many projects, I think we're going to get the likes of we've seen Black Knight show up in a film. He'll probably show up in a TV show next, and it'll be just on par with quality that we won't even really notice what medium we're watching it on, whether it's going to be on TV or in the theater. Like, you know, that's obviously what they're aiming for, and I think they definitely have the the ability to do it.
Mm-hmm. And I want to see Christopher Walken as Merlin.
Christopher
Yeah,
Walken
my
as
face.
Merlin.
We got in this podcast. We're going to. We gotta get out of here before he says more reckless shit like this. Okay? What the hell is that?
Someone mentioned
I'm just
Christopher
tossing it
Walken
out
in
for
the
no
chat
reason.
a few minutes ago. Walken was mentioned in the chat. I think Gabe mentioned him in the chat a few minutes ago. That is hilarious. That is so funny. Yeah, guys, I think we should end it here.
Thank you.
Just adding more fuel to the fire here.
Oh my god,
Legend.
Christopher
Legend.
Walken.
Guys, thank you so
Well,
much
everyone,
for hanging out tonight.
Marvelous chat. Thanks for coming on so late.
Yeah, it's a late one for anybody who's over my side of the world. So if you are from my side of the world, I have big respect for being here. It's nearly 3:30 in the morning. So, guys, if you're listening on Spotify, make sure you turn on those noti bells. If you're watching on YouTube and you're new, follow the channel, like the video, leave us a comment, all that usual stuff. Guys, we'll be back next week. I think we're going to watch Spider-Man 1. I think that might be a good one to kind of start off with. And we're going to get a full review from Alex on Daredevil Season 1 next week. That's
got it.
in stone. It's recorded. It has to happen now. It is in the record.
All right.
Guys, thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Later.
Have a good one.
Bye, bye, bye. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out tonight.